With your diabetes and high blood pressure and all?
Well, they didn't require a medical exam, and I was approved right over the phone, so it couldn't have been any easier.
Thanks. I love you so much.
Don't wait for another scare. Make sure your loved ones are protected. Final expense plans start at less than $1 a day, and you can be approved right over the phone. There's no medical exam. Just answer a few simple health questions. Your coverage can never be canceled, and your rates can never increase. Don't leave your loved ones with your debt. Call right now.
Call 1-833-741-1946. That's 1-833-741-1946.
Six more weeks of winter. I guess I'll go shopping for another winter coat.
Yes, Punxsutawney Phil and Staten Island.
Relive treasured and classic Billy Graham moments of the past. Fridays and Saturdays on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. This is the happening place. This is it. We are kind of back into a remodeled penthouse.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Check this out.
Yeah. We liked the other penthouse, but it was too tinny, so we put some wood in it. There it is.
Yeah.
There's the big picture.
All right.
So anyway, good morning to you. You know what's so exciting about this picture?
What?
It's a real picture because there's no weather.
That is true. Oh my goodness.
McLaughlin is losing its snow.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
It's sad. We need some rain and snow, folks. I mean, like, we really do need
like
it.
really critically.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yes.
So we're hoping that March and April will be productive. We'll see.
Could be.
It could be. We've had these cycles before.
Yes, we have. So we're not giving up.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where just about anything goes. When Jerry here, it does. Just about anything happens. Anyway, good morning to you. I ran into one of your fan clubs at the city center the other day.
Oh no. Okay. Well, good. Well,
you know where the city center is now?
No.
It's Costco.
It's Costco. That's absolutely true. Yes.
If you have, you're going to see people you haven't seen in years.
I do.
So I was over doing something, and this guy came up to me and said, "You're Perry, aren't you? Yeah. Can you lay off a Jerry?"
Oh, good.
Of course, he was kidding.
Yeah, I know.
And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Man, no, I can't do that. That's half the gig." And he goes, "Well, keep it up, keep it up." Okay.
Yeah.
So then I was at another store. When was it? Saturday morning. I was at another store, getting some things for our engineers here. But that's another story.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
So the guy in front of me. You ever been to Harbor Freight?
Yes, I have. Yes.
It's an interesting store.
It is.
You know, you got to know what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's got good stuff and junk. You just got to know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
I say that respectfully.
Yeah.
Okay. So the guy in front of me, he's checked out, and he looks back at me, and then so he takes off, and the gal that was checking me out kind of got sidetracked on one of the company phones or something going on.
Okay.
So I'm watching the guy that was in front of me. He goes out and he gets in his truck, and I don't know why, I just was watching with no big reason.
Yeah.
So by the time the gal comes around and starts checking me out, he comes back in. And he gets in my face, he goes, "Are you on the Dove?" Just like that. I go, Yeah. I like Jerry. Well, what am I?
Thank you.
What am I? Sawdust? I said, I'll be sure to tell him that.
Yeah, I appreciate it a lot.
And he wouldn't tell me his name. He just took off.
Okay.
I said, who are you? Well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
I like
matter.
Jerry.
No, it doesn't. Thank you. Whoever you are, thank you.
So you're up to 3 fans.
I know. I like
Okay.
that. Yeah, wait. I have one more grandchild who's joined the ranks, so maybe 4.
Really?
Maybe 4, you know. But it's grandkids. Do they count?
Do they count?
As fans.
They're everything.
Yes, they are. We sat and watched volleyball tournaments most of Saturday because of it, yes. And as
So why has this grandchild decided that Papa's a good guy?
Well, because you show up.
Okay.
Yeah, and while she's playing volleyball, the others are running wild around the gym, through the hallways. It's like, oh my goodness.
No, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do.
And you know what? I'm at that stage of life where I watch them run like that, and I think, I used to do that.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do that.
My brain's with them. About it.
Anyway, but I can still do this. Guess
All
what?
right. What do you
It's
got?
National Ukulele Day.
Ukulele.
The word ukulele translates to jumping flea in Hawaiian. It's considered the world's most accessible instrument and is often called the happiest instrument on earth. And people get tropical vibes when they hear the ukulele. It kind of makes the brain happy, and even the saddest songs played on the instrument make the listener feel hopeful. So there you go, National Ukulele Day. So you pull it out, give it a dry run.
Do you actually play it or just strum it, no matter what it sounds like?
You just strum it. Some people pick it. As I was doing this, I was looking at some video clips. There are some ukulele orchestras who play some very intricate. Yeah, it's interesting. And if we had some time, I'd have queued one of them up. But you know, it was just too long of a piece. But it's beautiful stuff. I mean, they're really good. And then when you're all done playing your ukulele, belly up and have some tater tots. It is National Tater Tot, a kitchen staple. In our country, we consume over 3.5 billion of these nuggets of potato goodness per year, made from the shavings from French fries. These were invented in the 30s out in eastern Oregon by a potato company, and they thought, what do we do with all these shavings from these French fries? Well, let's glob them up and make them into little balls and sell them as tater tots. Tater tots.
When was this, in the 30s?
30s, yeah, like 1934.
That's when you valued the whole dollar.
And it was the company, yes, and it was a company that eventually ended up being called Ore-Ida.
Oh.
Yeah. So enjoy your tater tots, and then for dessert, we'll have a little bit of heavenly hash.
Heavenly hash.
Yeah, and heavenly hash can have a lot of different ingredients, but it seems like the one common denominator in all heavenly hashes is marshmallows. Or marshmallow cream. But after that, heavenly hash can be an assortment of things that you add into it. So whatever you like in your heavenly hash, enjoy.
All right.
And guess what?
Today is February 2nd.
Which means it is Groundhog Day.
Did he see his shadow?
Dun, 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 dun. Yes, there's Puxatawny Phil. They pull him out, and this morning he did see his shadow. There will be 6 more weeks of winter, and Groundhog's Days are traced back to German traditions brought to Pennsylvania, brought by Dutch immigrants. I don't know why a German tradition got brought by the Dutch. Yeah. And it obviously tells us whether we're going to wait for 6 more weeks or not. Tradition is that German residents brought it to Pennsylvania, and the very first one was 1887. On this day in 1887 at Gobbler's Knob, Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, and the 1993 film Groundhog Day starring Bill Murray significantly boosted the popularity of this day. Before the movie, thousands visited Puxatawny's Gobbler's Knob, but after the attendance, it went to the tens of thousands, and Phil has mingled with famous personalities, including he met President Ronald Reagan, and he appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And Puxatawny Phil's weather forecasting accuracy stands a little worse than mine. He's 39%.
That's it?
As analyzed by the National Climatic Data Center and Stormfax. Despite this, Phil remains a beloved figure in the tradition of Groundhog Day predictions. So he's only 39% right. And but they did see his shadow this morning. And I wanted to add one more thing on this. I just saw this. PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. They have weighed into the Puxatawny Phil thing. Yep. They have proposed replacing Puxatawny Phil with a 3D hologram or phantom Yes, and they wanted it done for this year's ceremony, but they want to do that to prevent the animal from experiencing stress from crowds and noise. The organization offers to fund this state-of-the-art technology if the Puxatawny Groundhog Club retires the live groundhog to a sanctuary. So PETA wants Phil gone, and they want a hologram in his place.
Well, why don't we switch to goats on the side of a hill?
What? Tell me about that. What's that?
Well, it's true.
What?
There was a herd of goats up in northern Oregon.
Okay.
And it had a national world reputation. And where they were at the hill, there was this grassy hill, and where they were on this hill determined the weather.
Oh man.
And Leon, would talk about this, but there's something about the barometric pressure in goats.
Okay. Oh.
So we could just replace Phil with Billy.
Billy. Puxatawny Billy.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's West Lynn Billy. I don't know. Up there.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh man. Hey, have you ever seen the Groundhog Day film? Bill Murray.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It is. You know, I hadn't seen it in probably, I don't know, 20 more years. We watched it this Christmas holidays.
Did you?
Yeah, it was amazing to watch that thing again. And then, of course, you got that Sonny and Cher song, dun 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 dun, I got you, babe, dun dun dun. Every day starts the same. You're right.
Oh, I know.
No. Okay, so enjoy your Groundhog Day.
All right, happy Groundhog Day. All right, well.
Yeah.
Groundhog Jerry, 39% accurate. You decide right now. Take a look here.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, patchy fog, then mostly cloudy with a chance of rain and highs in the low to mid-50s for Vancouver and Portland. A chance of showers and partly sunny in mid-50s in Wilsonville and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, a chance of rain, then clearing to partly sunny in mid-50s in Salem and Albany. Some patchy fog, then mostly sunny in 56 in Corvallis. In Eugene, mostly sunny and near 59. In Central Oregon, partly sunny with a high near 55 in Prineville. Mostly sunny skies for Bend and Sun River with daytime highs in the low 50s. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny with a high temperature near 52. Along the Oregon coast, patchy fog in Coos Bay, then sunny with a high near 61. Mostly sunny skies from Port Orford through Brookings and Crescent City, California, with daytime highs in the upper 50s. In southern Oregon, patchy dense fog with freezing fog for the Rogue Valley, then mostly sunny with highs in the mid-50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Patchy morning fog in Klamath Falls, then sunny in low 50s. Into northern California, patchy fog, then sunny with a high near 54 in Wairika. Mostly sunny and near 70 in Redding and 65 in Chico. Patchy dense morning fog in Sacramento, then mostly sunny and near 62. Patchy fog across the Bay Area this morning, then clearing to sunny skies with daytime high temperatures near 67 in Santa Rosa and Napa, a high near 65 in San Francisco, and near 68 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Picture of our valley. We do have a few thin pockets of fog around. I was in it for about 30 seconds, So
yeah.
It's a real thin layer out there.
Very.
So. Anyway, nice shot of our valley with all the lights on this morning.
Yeah, it was clear. Nice, smooth sailing all the way in until I was on Table Rock Road.
There you go.
And a couple little pockets, but that was it. So, you can be careful, but you're going to have pretty good sailing this morning. Well, do you know that God still speaks to his kids? Have you heard him recently? Here's some great encouragement with Dr. Anthony George.
Before we act impulsively, before we react, before we speak, before we hit sin, before we lash out, before we cut and run, press pause and listen to God. God speaks to his children. I feel sorry for people who don't know God still speaks to his children. I mean, where would we be if God didn't speak to us? If God didn't assure us that he loves us and assure us that we're not condemned and will never face his wrath once we're in Christ? Where would we be if we didn't have assurances and promises from God when we have health scares or we find out our situation is grim? Where would we be if God wasn't in there saying, but you're going to heaven, trust me, I've got this covered? God still speaks to us if we'll listen to him. I think he speaks primarily through the Bible. It's most reliably. But also, we know he speaks to us in messages from the Holy Spirit. You say, I don't think the Holy Spirit's still speaking to God's children. I pity you if you don't think the Holy Spirit still speaks to children of God. Yes, he does. He speaks through his word, through his spirit, through circumstances, through your friends. He speaks through songs. He can speak through a can of Coca-Cola. I'm telling you, he can speak through any way he chooses to speak.
Right. That's good.
I almost gave it out there.
Yeah, you did.
Well, it's true. I think, are you listening?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the question. Are you listening?
Right.
You know, through circumstances, through his word, through other people, you know. Anyway, good stuff all the way around. All right, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Back at it. Let's take a look at some of the top stories today. Kind of an interesting weekend in so many ways. First of all, the let's see here. Oh, I got the wrong set of stories here. There we go. Uh-oh. Got to get it straightened out. Melania's documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Huge hit.
Yeah.
A lot of people really enjoyed it. It supposedly, on the opening weekend, made $8 million. It took about 40 to make.
Okay.
But what they're saying is that, I don't know how this movie business works.
I don't either.
Apparently they are, they're saying that it will more than make money with a launch like that. Now, you got to remember, this is in the documentary category.
Right.
It's not a movie. It's a documentary.
Right, yeah.
And so, anyway, huge hit through the theaters against everybody who thought that maybe it should.
Supposedly surprising a lot of people, I've been reading.
Yeah, pretty good. All right, the other story is we went into the weekend Friday where the Republicans agreed to not shutting the government down, to knowing that the House wasn't going to come back into session until today, maybe tomorrow because of the weather. And already this deal is falling apart. So technically we are shut down at the moment. Yeah. And we'll see where this goes. But some Republicans in the Senate are telling House Republicans don't vote for this plan because it calls for the not the defunding but not funding ICE.
Yeah, so what's the difference?
Well, it has a budget.
Yeah. Okay.
But it won't be increased in any way or something like that. It'll be a bare bones budget. Right. Okay. So what's so interesting about this is that you got the Republicans now bolting on the president on this deal. I kind of think he expected this.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. But in the meantime, it looks like it's going to run into some headwinds getting into the House today or tomorrow. So we may be heading into an extended shutdown. Everybody will blame everybody else.
Yeah, and now they're calling this a partial shutdown. What does that mean? What's open?
Let's see, what's open?
Yeah.
Post office?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't get it, but right now that's
McDonald's
what I heard.
is open. Does that
okay?
count for
Well,
anything?
maybe it means the troops are getting funded. I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, anyway, it's messy, and we're going to have a bumpy week with all of this nonsense going on again. You know, it really is nonsense on both sides. You know what's really bad about this?
What?
They never can deal with this while they're in session.
Yeah.
They always deal with it at the end of session. It's the same thing that the state of Oregon is used to doing with education.
Yeah.
They always wait till the end of session to fund education, and they all want to get out of the building, so they always pass something.
Right. Right.
And it's money that goes nowhere. So anyway, I would say that Republicans and Democrats all need a spanking.
Okay.
I think that's how childish it is.
Yeah, that brings.
Would you run your house like this?
No, I was going to say, brings out the parent in me. Yeah,
You can't do
line
this.
them up.
Yeah, line them up. I think they all need a spanking, including the president, including Johnson, including Schumer, including Thien.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, they all need a spanking.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes.
All right. So it's always been, was Canada going to be 51? Was Greenland going to be 51?
Yeah.
Or is Cuba going to be 51?
Yeah.
The president says we're making a deal on Cuba.
Whoa.
What's the deal? Anyway, here's what he had to say.
Well, Cuba's a failing nation. It has been for a long time, but now it doesn't have Venezuela to prop it up. So we're talking to the people from Cuba, the highest people in Cuba, to see what happens. I want the people that came here that were horribly treated by Cuba to be taken care of, to be able to go back and do what they have to do. You know, they have their family there. They haven't been able to see them in years, many, many years. I think we're going to make a deal with Cuba.
President, back to Texas.
It's in bad shape. Cuba's in bad shape. Cuba has a humanitarian problem.
All right, so we won't say what it is.
No.
But it is vulnerable. It's yes, it's dried up. Since Venezuela oil is not flowing there, it is in serious trouble.
Yep.
And you know, we have to get rid of communist-run countries in our hemisphere.
Absolutely.
It's called the Monroe Doctrine. And so could Cuba be taken over without any kind of military intervention? And it looks like that could be the case. So
yeah. Well, let me ask you this: we see some pretty bold moves on the part of the Trump administration, i.e., Venezuela now eyeing Cuba and such. Is part of this the fact that at the present time the U.S. militarily is extremely strong, but Russia looks vulnerable, and the CCP, you know, the Chinese, they look very questionable? Are they kind of taking advantage of the pecking order right now and saying, okay, we're gonna like move in our policy decisions in a pretty aggressive way here because the opportunity exists?
The answer is yes, but you know what? In my thinking, that's strategic. Okay. How do you take the most powerful military in the world and weaken it? It's real simple.
How?
Instead of 2 things to do, you give it 50 things to do.
Yeah.
You spread it out.
Right.
We're all over the world.
Right.
We may be the strongest, but also we could be the weakest because we can't respond to anything major. We got a big contingency now in the Middle East off the shores there of Iran.
Yeah.
We got all the stuff going on over there in the China Sea. Okay. We got stuff in Ukraine. I mean, we're scattered all over the place. We got stuff in Venezuela. Now we're looking at Cuba. Yeah. So you take the strongest military in the world and you spread it thin, and that gives your enemies open doors to go do something like Taiwan. So I don't know. Obviously, I don't sit in the situation room and see the real facts.
And you know, it's interesting that you bring up Taiwan. You know, we're looking at Venezuela. I saw a strategist, a guy, a conservative strategist, who said, you know, what's happened here is that Trump has taken away the oil that China would use to conduct that war to take Taiwan. So this is very strategic. Yes.
Yeah. So we don't see the big picture. We just see little things, and then we'll fall in the trap of making opinions.
All this going on, we're concerned about the rioters in Minneapolis. You know, these paid agitators who are out on the streets.
I'll tell you what, you won't make it, folks, unless you read a promise from God every day. You will end up cynical, angry, mean, and discouraged and depressed. You have to get a promise, a biblical promise today, and start with the ones that deal with your salvation. Start with the one where anyone who comes to Christ will be saved. Anybody who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Yeah. Start with that one. Yeah. Then you can get into the other ones, like, he will bless you and keep you, and no harm will get you. Read Psalm 91. Just read 4 or 5 minutes. Turn it into a prayer. It's you. He's there for you. You won't get through the day reading these headlines and come out the other end saying, no, you'll be worse than macaroni and cheese. You ever see macaroni and cheese bird? That's a brain that's overworked. We'll be right back.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Hi, I'm Ryan Robertson, host of a brand new program on the Dove, Ministries on the Move. Ministries on the Move spotlights the incredible work of how God is using everyday people and organizations, putting their faith into action, serving the hurting, strengthening families, and sharing the hope of the gospel in practical ways. Be inspired and discover these Ministries on the Move. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m., right here on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us.
EMS says we're going to take her to the hospital. More doctors and more machines start coming. So I said, what's going on? She says, they're giving her chest compressions. I said, for what? She said she can't breathe. And I said, God, I say, this is your child. I say, I trust you.
Monday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV. Washington Watch with Tony Perkins is your watchful eye on the nation's capital. Every weeknight, covering current events, issues of faith, family, and freedom from a conservative Christian perspective.
Who is really upholding the law? And
Tony is the president of the Family Research Council and your leading source for what's really happening in our nation's capital.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Don't miss Washington Watch, weeknights at 6 on the Dove TV.
All right, welcome back. Happy Monday to you. A lot going on in the news. One of the stories that's so interesting is that Portland's back in the news again because they had a big demonstration out in front of the federal building. Now, let me just ask you this.
Okay.
We've got all this controversy going on with ICE
Yeah.
and all this stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. The number one, well, one of the major, let me put it this, one of the major things of ICE is to protect federal buildings.
Yeah, right.
So now you got demonstrators demonstrating out in front of federal buildings. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah, well,
let it burn down?
Right. You know, in a perfect scenario, you know how this works out? ICE doesn't have to do anything because local authorities step in and disperse the crowd and send them home because those federal buildings are in their city. Get the local authorities out there and do their job.
Okay, so here's the deal, folks. I understand most of this now, if not all of it, is planned and paid for. And guess what they're doing now? They're bringing children and pets with them.
Of course, yes. And some of them are packing heat.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So this is inciting a riot. They are inciting their own insurrection.
Right.
And
yeah,
so
that's right.
by the way, ICE did what city was it? Oh gosh, my brain froze here.
LA?
No, they did a city over the weekend. It was in Virginia. 650 people were arrested. These are thugs. These are rapists, sex traffickers and all that. 650 people arrested with the help of local police officers. Cleaned them out of their cities over the weekend.
All right.
Somewhere in Virginia, I believe. So the only thing I can say is ICE is working where they get cooperation. Where they don't get cooperation, they're the enemy.
Yeah.
So, but Portland up there, I don't know what you're supposed to do there. You know, here's the deal, Mr. Mayor. Okay, put your own police in front of the ICE building.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Put your own police out there. Why aren't you doing that?
Yeah, you want to take care of this problem? Remove ICE by making them unneeded.
Gosh.
Right.
Crazy. All right, let's take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on out there. Satellite-wise, we have a little bit of system to the north of us, but the system offshore. Now, if I understand Jerry's weather predictions.
You're understanding it? What?
Well, if I can comprehend
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
This could produce later this week and into the weekend.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Unless there's something behind it.
All right. Well, John Fetterman's in the news. He's the Democrat from Pennsylvania, and he joined Fox News's The Sunday Briefing to discuss the partial government shutdown and calls for ICE reforms.
Well, the thing with it's absolutely true that it's not going to really deprive any kind of funding from DHS or ultimately ICE because they have those effectively unlimited funds through the big beautiful bill. They have funding now. I think it's at least 2 or 3 years part of that now. So we're going to have to figure out a way forward. How many kinds of demands to reform ICE that the Republicans are willing to take up. We're going to find out where we ultimately are. That's where we are. But thankfully, people really got smart and realized in the Senate, we cannot shut down like our military. I refuse. We can't be one of the people that would vote to deprive the military not getting paid for the twice time in 2 months. I led that charge last year. We can't shut our government down, and we did. So now we can't do that again. But now, finally, now we're at the point how to make the appropriate kinds of changes on ICE. But it's not going to really change the funding for the reason of the big, beautiful bill.
Okay, I have a question about reforming ICE. ICE was involved in millions of deportations under the same leadership. Under a different administration, everything was fine. In fact, they gave Tom Homan an award, a presidential award under Obama. No reforms were needed. Nothing was out of order. What happened? Why does ICE need reforming now under the Trump administration?
Well, it doesn't.
Okay.
All right. To answer your question, it doesn't. But this became the golden opportunity for the diversion of the attention of the fraud in Minnesota, and it's mushroomed into this mess.
Exactly.
Now, I will say, I believe ICE needs to be, how can I say this? Operations needs to be reexamined. Okay, now they're getting the bad people. I get that.
Okay.
But they were also getting a lot of people that have been here for quite a while and that they should have had some kind of a way of working with them instead of just throwing them over the fence, my opinion, especially with people who have been here, who've been paying taxes and contributing. Okay? They're here because the previous administration allowed them in. Okay? So now that we've closed the border, that's another thing. But what happened, in my thinking, is that Minneapolis it's in such an amazing embarrassment that we're going to get back to the fraud, and it's going to be huge.
Okay, yeah.
And Newsom needs to be shaking in his boots because it's coming to his state too.
Next, yeah.
Okay, so once the fraud is totally exposed, then you'll see why the whole ICE operation was the perfect subterfuge to take the attention away from the real problem. Okay, and to your point, which is the point, all you got to do is have local police do their job.
Right.
But when the local police have been told to stand down,
exactly,
you got this mess.
Yes, and it's not it's not the PD, it's not the police department it's the administration.
It's the administration.
Yes.
And so it's hypocrisy on steroids.
Right.
Obama, what did he do? He threw out 3 million people?
Yeah, just over 3 million.
And that's not in the news,
right?
You know, so the hypocrisy of this is really reeks. But over the weekend I was trying to think, 'cause, man, I run into people that only listen to the headlines. Okay, and I can see where if they're not going to drill down on things, they're just taking the headlines, you can come up with a very negative opinion of ICE. I get it. I totally get it. But what gets me is, do you really want ICE to lose this argument?
That's a good question.
Do you really want ICE to lose this deal? Because you have opened the door for uncontrolled lawlessness, and we already had it. We know we've had fraud in the courts. That's been manifested and brought up.
Yes.
And now you're going to allow law enforcement officers at the federal level to be run out of town from doing their job? Do you really want ICE to lose?
Right.
And they're trying to say ICE is against its citizens. No, it's against the bad people.
Oh, and by the way, who is funding all this protest activity against ICE?
Well, we know Soros is involved. Now we find out there's a millionaire from China that's involved.
Right. China's got money involved in to disrupt this. What does that tell you?
Well, it goes back to the rules for radicals. Rules for radicals is so clear that if you create you can govern by chaos.
Right.
You create chaos, and at the end, the result of chaos is lawlessness. And the minute you get lawlessness, then the socialists can take control because they'll come in as the answer to lawlessness, which is government control, and you lose everything you want. These people are out demonstrating.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're demonstrating against because sooner or later, if they get what they think they want, they're going to be little people making widgets at some federal factory.
Yeah. Wait, this is good. This was just, did you know, obviously the Grammys were last night.
Oh, gosh.
And Justin Bieber showed up with a pin, an anti-ice pin.
Yeah.
And then it was time for him to perform. Did you see what he did? He took all his clothes off and he performed in his boxers and his socks, like he just got out of bed. And he's got a guitar out there, and I'm looking at these pictures and thinking, you people have lost it. They have just totally lost it. So anyway, if you see it in the news, you don't even have to look at it. It's Justin Bieber and his boxers playing for a crowd of anti-ICE people.
I saw this and I go, and you're a Christian?
Oh, yeah, I know. That's the thing that
You call yourself a Christian?
That popped into my head, too. Yeah, I got to
Really?
say, yeah.
You're a Christian when you're in trouble. When you're making money, you're playing in your underwear. Give me a break.
That's really good. Oh, gosh. I don't know.
We're going to go get some macaroni and cheese.
He said it.
No, you sent him the email. We'll be right back.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old-world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
Ministries on the Move spotlights how God is using everyday people and organizations to bring light, love, and transformation to others through inspiring conversations and real-life stories. Join me Tuesdays and Thursdays right here on theDove TV.
Welcome back. 24 minutes before the hour. The big headline over the weekend. Well, Cuba is probably on its way out. What replaces it and what happens, we don't know, but it looks like it's losing its impact, and so is Iran. Will Iran survive or fall?
Oh, boy.
Who knows? Let's check in with CBN News Watch and get the latest.
This is CBN News Watch.
We begin in the Middle East, where the question is, will President Trump carry out an attack on Iran, or will negotiations hold off a strike? As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, the future and fate of Iran and its people rest in the balance.
President Trump responded to the warning from Iran's supreme leader that a U.S. attack could spark a regional war.
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you're going to say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
Iran canceled a live fire exercise in the Strait of Hormuz after a U.S. warning, and representatives of the two nations reportedly are preparing for a meeting this week in Ankara, Turkey. Former Canadian parliamentarian and Iranian-born Goldy Gamari told CBN News she believes negotiations are a classic Iranian tactic.
They're going to say and do whatever they can in order to remain in power and in order to buy time so that they can rebuild and become strong again. So absolutely.
Gamari is in contact with those inside Iran.
What I'm hearing from inside occupied Iran is that people are not giving up. The revolution is still happening. Iranians, it's basically now or never. And Iranians are definitely looking forward to military intervention by the United States and possibly Israel. So the mood is one of resilience. The mood is one of anger at the Islamic regime. The Islamic regime is dead. They just don't know it yet.
On Fox News Sunday, Senator Lindsey Graham sent a message to President Trump that he can't talk like Reagan and act like Obama.
The Ayatollah will never be our friend. He's a religious Nazi. President Trump, you said help is on the way. That has to be real. It has to be real soon. Do it, Mr. President. The people of Iran are begging you to be on their side. You have done it so good. You are Reagan plus. This is the defining moment in your presidency. Stand by the people. The Ayatollah falls. The region changes. Bigger than the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Evangelist Robbie Dawkins has been in contact with the underground church in Iran, one of the fastest growing in the world. He believes the fall of the Iranian regime will lead to an explosion of evangelism that could rival what happened in the former Soviet Union after the Berlin Wall came down.
I believe the regime will completely fall and the people of Iran will be completely liberated. And as we see that happen, we're going to see a complete transformation. I and my team, we're ready to go to Iran and start equipping and evangelizing like never before. I know many other groups are too. But this is a time we need to be praying for that, and the Iranian people are ready for it.
Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem. Chris, what are the dangers of these negotiations?
Well, Gary, as Golda Gamari said, that, it's just a delaying tactic, that the Iranians really are masters at stalling. They did that during the nuclear negotiations. They did it for years, actually, Gary. In the meantime, the regime is killing more protesters. They're consolidating their grip on the streets. And on the other hand, in these negotiations, President Trump, he is the man of the art of the deal, so he has a history of pulling the plug if he believes Iran is not negotiating in good faith. Pretty much he did the same thing, I think, last year before the 12-day war in June, Gary, where he gave Iran one last chance before Operation Midnight Hammer. I think he's giving them one more chance today.
Ayatollah Khamenei is threatening a regional war, but would anyone actually help Iran, Chris?
Well, it remains to be seen. Right now, their proxies in the region, they really don't have the ability they once had. Hezbollah was usually their ace in the hole. They had maybe 200,000 rockets and mortars and missiles. They're nothing like they were before October 7th. Same thing with Hamas, same thing with the Houthis. So Iran's proxies really can't contribute much of anything. And Iran apparently doesn't have any treaties with nations that obligate them to join them in the war. That would be China or Russia. They have alliances, economic ties, but no military alliance that would force them to come to Iran's aid. It's also unlikely any of the Gulf states would help Iran. They don't want to oppose the United States. On the other hand, they don't want to let the U.S. or even Israel use their airspace. So even despite what the Ayatollah says, it doesn't look like a regional war may develop, and Iran may be on its own.
Well, there are reports of mysterious explosions in several Iranian cities. What have you heard?
Well, we've heard explosions in several Iranian cities, including Bandar Abbas, Tabriz, even in Tehran, and a few more cities around Iran. The Iranian explanation is that there are gas leaks. Those are the same explanations they gave last year before the 12-day war, where there were similar explosions in different places. And the government of Iran is also denying that the IRGC naval commander was killed in one of those explosions. Some people are wondering, well, could this be the Mossad? We know in that war in June in 2025, the Mossad was operating with a lot of internal opposition groups against the regime. And also the possibility, could this be a prelude to a U.S. attack, just like happened last June? But these mysterious attacks really have no explanation by the official government. They're just denying them and saying they're just gas explosions.
Well,
wow.
We got a bridge I want to show you, too.
Okay.
How stupid they think we are, I guess.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. All right. Good morning to you. The weather outside is high and dry.
Yeah.
We'll show you right here with this guy.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, patchy fog, then mostly cloudy with a chance of rain and highs in the low to mid-50s for Vancouver and Portland. A chance of showers and partly sunny in mid-50s in Wilsonville and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, a chance of rain, then clearing to partly sunny in mid-50s in Salem and Albany. Some patchy fog, then mostly sunny in 56 in Corvallis. In Eugene, mostly sunny and near 59. In Central Oregon, partly sunny with a high near 55 in Prineville. Mostly sunny skies for Bend and Sun River with daytime highs in the low 50s. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny with a high temperature near 52. Along the Oregon coast, patchy fog in Coos Bay, then sunny with a high near 61. Mostly sunny skies from Port Orford through Brookings and Crescent City, California, with daytime highs in the upper 50s. In southern Oregon, patchy dense fog with freezing fog for the Rogue Valley, then mostly sunny with highs in the mid-50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Patchy morning fog in Klamath Falls, then sunny in low 50s. Into northern California, patchy fog, then sunny with a high near 54 in Wairika. Mostly sunny and near 70 in Redding and 65 in Chico. Patchy dense morning fog in Sacramento, then mostly sunny and near 62. Patchy fog across the Bay Area this morning, then clearing to sunny skies with daytime high temperatures near 67 in Santa Rosa and Napa, a high near 65 in San Francisco, and near 68 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Hi, good morning to you. A little shot of our, well, that's actually looking to the north end of the valley this morning, which is kind of interesting. We do have some high clouds over the top, which means absolutely nothing. A nice day in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, on this day, 1925, against impossible odds, a town was saved, and it was all based on very old school technology. Look at this. With Nome, Alaska facing a deadly diphtheria outbreak, the only life-saving antitoxin was nearly 700 miles away. Winter storms grounded planes, temperatures plunged to 85 degrees below zero, and time was running out. So mushers and sled dogs stepped in. In a relay that covered 674 miles in just 5.5 days, teams handed the serum off across frozen rivers and blinding snow. The final leg was driven by Gunnar Kasson and his lead dog Balto, who pushed through whiteout conditions to deliver the medicine and save countless lives. The mission became known as the Great Race of Mercy or the Great Serum Race, and decades later, it inspired the Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race, which honors those mushers and dogs who proved courage, teamwork, and endurance could triumph over nature itself. From a life-saving dash to a legendary race, Alaska still remembers the run that changed history.
And that's where they got the Iditarod?
That's for the Iditarod. It basically retraces the route. And I like that last one where Gunnar gets it. Whiteout condition. You're going hundreds of miles. How do you know which end is up?
Well, you'd have to have a compass.
Oh, something. I mean, you got to have some way of navigating. Wow. But yeah, it inspired the current Iditarod, and a lot of people watch that every year. Great event.
Wow.
Yeah.
A little piece of history I didn't know. All right. Well, Sam Alberry, he's with Crossway, one of the great apologetic organizations out there, and shares about being united in Christ.
There are so many parts of life that our union with Jesus affects and helps us with. One of those is how we think about the future. Because I'm united to Jesus, what is true of Jesus becomes true of me. So Paul can say we've died with Christ. Spiritually, we've already been raised with him. And so physically, because Jesus has been raised, our resurrection is inevitable. Somebody once used the analogy of being in a plane. Once you're on a plane, what is true of the plane becomes true of you. And so if the plane has taken off, you've taken off. If the plane's delayed, you're delayed. If the plane's landed, you've landed. And so if we are in Jesus and Jesus has been bodily raised from the dead, our own resurrection is inevitable. It's an absolute certainty. And so to understand the certainty of my future in Jesus, I look back and look at what has happened to him, and knowing that what has happened to him will happen to those who are in him. So Paul talks about this in places like 1 Corinthians 15. He says, Jesus is the first fruits of all who will follow him. He's the first resurrection and all the other resurrections will follow for those who are in him. So it means there's a lot I don't know about my immediate future. I don't know what's going to happen in the world over the next few years, but I do know what is going to happen to my body and my soul long term, because I've seen what's happened to Jesus, and by his grace I'm united to him. And so he would have to come back down from heaven and climb back into the grave for me to now not have hope. This union with Christ is secure because Jesus' work in bringing us to himself is finished. I can be sure this union is not something he's going to change his mind on. He's not going to fire me. He's not going to break up with me. He's not going to dump me. He's not going to ununite me from himself. And so because I'm in him, I can't now not be in him. And being in him means what is true of him becomes true of me.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, I think everybody struggles, and if you do any kind of counseling, you find out, especially with Christians that get into a bad place of life, something's going on, something's going wrong, okay? Is they actually don't believe that God still loves them in spite of the problem. And that's one of the hardest things to get people to grasp, is that you're united in Christ. We live in a fallen, messed up world. We're going to make mistakes. Repentance is a one-time thing. It's a constant thing.
Yeah.
And so, but if you've lost your consciousness of sin, that's a whole nother ballgame, a whole nother set of problems. So, you know. Anyway, good stuff all the way around. 11 minutes now before the hour. We'll take a quick, what do we have today?
What do we have today? We got tater tots, man, and heavenly hash. So have your tater tots first, and then your heavenly hash.
Oh, boy, that's a mixture, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll keep you heavenly minded.
Heavenly minded.
There you go.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Everything comes alive. Everything comes alive. Everything comes alive. And you.
Ministries on the Move spotlights how God is using everyday people and organizations to bring light, love, and transformation to others through inspiring conversations and real-life stories. Join me Tuesdays and Thursdays right here on the Dove TV.
Put your gold in an envelope, mail it. Hopefully you get a check. No. Father and son jewelry, bring your gold in, we weigh it, we check it, we make you the offer.
Or turn your something old into something new. Whether it's an idea, a picture, or a piece you want to duplicate, we can melt it down and make it for you.
If you find your perfect piece in store, trade your something old for something new, and you always get a little extra.
Visit Father and Son Jewelry, 5 generations of family in Medford.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
8 minutes before the top of the hour on this Back at It Monday morning. Well, the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, that was on, Fox with Maria, and doubled down on the president's trying to build bridges over Minnesota's ICE situation, and apparently they're not backing off, and here's what she had to say.
Well, the White House and the president are open and willing to listen. I know the president said aboard Air Force One last night that those conversations and discussions will continue. Last week, the White House invited moderate Democrat senators to come to the White House and to discuss their concerns so that we can hear them out and at least see what they are trying to put on the table. Unfortunately, that meeting was blocked by their leadership. So these conversations will continue, to Maria, and ultimately the president will be the decider on any policy changes. But what I know in talking with the president and seeing what this administration has done over the course of the last year is that President Trump is never going to waver in the commitment that he made to the nearly 80 million Americans who voted for him to deport illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws to get here and then have committed further crimes of violence against American citizens. And that's why ICE and Border Patrol are true patriots. They need to be respected. The Democrats need to agree to stop demonizing them. We've heard despicable rhetoric from people on the left comparing ICE to the Nazi Gestapo, Donald Trump's police force. That is egregious language that has led to the increase in violence, threats, and attacks against ICE agents who are brave men and women who put on the uniform to enforce our nation's immigration laws. So the Trump administration is always going to be on the side of law and order, and we want to remove these illegal alien rapists, murderers, pedophiles, despicable individuals from our country to protect the homeland. And the president has done a phenomenal job at doing that. And that's why murder rates in this country, newly released data show, are at the lowest in recorded history. These things are not coincidental. Under Joe Biden, murders were up, violent crime was up. We had illegal aliens invading our country from all over this world. All of that has ended. So President Trump knows what works. Democrats, if they were smart, would trust him and listen to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did this young lady come from?
She is sharp, and she doesn't read a note. This just flies.
Yeah, good stuff all the way around.
Yes, indeed.
Wow. All right. Well, I got some great guests coming up. Stick around. Drew Allen will be with us. Always good to talk to him. We have a lot to talk about. And so the Turning Point organization, Charlie Kirk, they're planning their own halftime show.
Yeah, right.
To counter what is going to go on during the
Sunday.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So the question is, will it work?
I wonder.
And who's televising?
And where do we go to find it?
Yeah.
How do we get there?
We need to get the answers to those questions.
Yeah.
Okay, then Mark Miller will be back with us, and apparently there's some major property right cases heading to the Supreme Court. Property rights.
Oh, gosh.
Do we have any property rights left?
Are they? Yeah, they're shrinking, and
You want to know who owns your property?
Well, I don't. Yeah, who owns your property? Well, it seems to me like the county right now, because we get notices about certain things, and it seems to be county a lot.
Okay, so who owns your property? Just stop paying your taxes. You'll find out who owns your property.
Yes, yeah, you won't.
We shouldn't have property tax.
No.
It is the killer of the great American dream.
You spend your life, paying off a mortgage. You do it. You're at retirement age, and you pay rent. To the county or the state or whoever it is that your property taxes are going to. State.
Property taxes should be frozen, at least frozen at the age of 65.
Yeah, eliminate them. Anyway.
That'll never get me elected
obviously,
anyway.
Light winter here, tough winter elsewhere, but let's get this in quick. A St. Louis man's being hailed as a hero for taking snow removal into his own hands and footing the bill himself. Check this out. Kenneth Harrell rented heavy equipment with his own money and spent days clearing snow-packed streets for free, helping neighbors get moving again after winter weather made many roads nearly impassable. Harrell doesn't even live in the neighborhood he helped, but when he saw people stuck on the streets, he knew he had to act. So he rented a skid steer loader, spending about $500, and went to work. Videos of the unofficial snowplow quickly spread online, with residents calling it a true act of community. Even city officials took notice, saying if someone's helping, they're not about to stop him. No paycheck, no spotlight, just one man.
Season is Shine, a new inspiring program for women. Through meaningful and relatable conversations, we'll help you discover God's purpose in every season, empowering you to shine. Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 4 p.m. on theDove TV.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why McKelly's is automotive service with a heart for God, and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond, but that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
Be encouraged. Be informed. Join us weekdays for Mornings on the Dove.
Right here on the Dove TV.
Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you and happy Monday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where Jerry gets his kicks.
Yeah.
Good morning to you. Happy Monday. A lot going on in the news. There always is. The weather outside is unchanged.
Yeah.
And today is February 2nd.
Yeah.
And we'll see if the little guy saw a shadow here in a minute.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Okay.
All right.
What's up, man? What do you got?
Well, first of all,
yeah,
get your ukulele out. It is National Ukulele Day, which translates to jumping flea in Hawaiian. I don't know why it would get named jumping flea. Yeah, it is considered the world's most accessible instrument and is often called the happiest instrument on earth. Not only do people get tropical vibes when they hear the ukulele, but it seems to be designed to make the human brain feel happy. And of course, whenever you think of like Hawaii, chink-a-chink-a-chink, you think of the little ukuleles and grass skirts and all the little stuff. Yeah, it's all.
Well, I was thinking of who was the guy that tiptoed through the tulips.
Oh, you're thinking of Tiny Tim.
Didn't he play a ukulele?
That's right. During the rock and roll era of the 60s comes Tiny Tim with his long hair and tiptoe through the tulips.
Is Margaritaville, is that on it? Isn't that a
How did we get to Margaritaville?
Well, didn't he play a ukulele?
I don't know.
Don't send me emails. I'm just reacting to that.
That was really good. Okay.
I don't know.
From Tiptoe Through the Tulips to Margaritaville, only here. It is also National Tater Tot Day, a kitchen staple in the United States, and we consume about 3.5 billion of these nuggets of potato goodness every year, made from the shavings from French fries. These were invented out in Eastern Oregon by the company that eventually became Ore-Ida, and they wanted to figure out what to do with the waste from the shavings from making French fries. So they glommed them together and made little potato balls that we call tater tots. And we sure eat a lot of them, don't we?
Yeah. You know, it's really interesting. I like fries, but I really don't like, I say I don't like, I don't care for tater tots.
Yeah.
They're not my favorite.
Yeah, I'll take fries, but I actually ate tater tots last night.
Oh, did you?
Not kidding you.
There you go.
Anyway, it's also a National Heavenly Hash Day. This is a dessert, an ice cream that has a number of different ingredients, and seems like the only common ingredient in all these different Heavenly Hash recipes is marshmallows, or marshmallow, cream or whip, and other ingredients vary, but whatever combination you like, enjoy it after you finish your tater tots.
Right.
And finally, as Perry mentioned, it is National Groundhog Day. So, did he see a shadow this morning? Yes, he did. And says, we're going to have another at least 6 weeks of winter. At least they are. We're waiting for our first dusting of winter here, or real winter.
Yeah.
Now, Groundhog Day, this traces their roots back to German immigrants, and the very first Groundhog Day in our country was 1887 on this day at Gobbler's Knob, Puxaltawney, Pennsylvania. And 1993 film Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray, significantly boosted the popularity of the real Groundhog Day event.
Yeah.
Before the movie, thousands would show up. Now tens of thousands show up. And so Groundhog Day has evolved into something major since the film. And Puxaltawney Phil has mingled with famous people, including President Ronald Reagan, and he even appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And his weather forecasting is a little bit tenuous, because his accuracy stands at about 39%. And now PETA weighed in, the people for the ethical treatment of animals coming into this year's event. They're encouraging them to get away from Puxaltawney Phil and retire him to a sanctuary and replace him with a hologram. Just so he doesn't get stressed with the people.
Oh.
So, yeah, they bring him out and they're petting him, and they're treating him better than, some pets that we have at home.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, but this year we got the real Puxaltawney Phil, and hopefully that he will continue, and we won't be subjected to a hologram driven by AI in the future.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, poor old Puxaltawney.
Wait a minute, I have a question. Does a hologram cast a shadow?
No, I'm trying to think about it. I played a holograph pool game one time.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you do?
Well, it was really interesting. I did it at one of these big shows, and they had the green light up there and the green floor, and then you'd look at the screen, and the screen had the pool table on it with the ball, and you had a fake stick, and so I played a game of pool.
No kidding.
And never had the stick in my, and I walked around the table and played a game of pool. Now, did it cast a shadow? That's a good one.
I wonder. I don't know. But the real Puxaltawney Phil did see a shadow.
Okay.
So brace yourselves.
And it's 39%?
It's 39% accuracy. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Here's a guy with 41.
Weather from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, patchy fog, then mostly cloudy with a chance of rain and highs in the low to mid-50s for Vancouver and Portland, a chance of showers and partly sunny in mid-50s in Wilsonville and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, a chance of rain, then clearing to partly sunny in mid-50s in Salem and Albany. Some patchy fog, then mostly sunny in 56 in Corvallis. In Eugene, mostly sunny and near 59. In central Oregon, partly sunny with a high near 55 in Prineville. Mostly sunny skies for Bend and Sun River with daytime highs in the low 50s. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny with a high temperature near 52. Along the Oregon coast, patchy fog in Coos Bay, then sunny with a high near 61. Mostly sunny skies from Port Orford through Brookings and Crescent City, California, with daytime highs in the upper 50s. In southern Oregon, patchy dense fog with freezing fog for the Rogue Valley, then mostly sunny with highs in the mid-50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Patchy morning fog in Klamath Falls, then sunny in low 50s. Into northern California, patchy fog, then sunny with a high near 54 in Wairika. Mostly sunny and near 70 in Redding and 65 in Chico. Patchy dense morning fog in Sacramento, then mostly sunny and near 62. Patchy fog across the Bay Area this morning, then clearing to sunny skies with daytime high temperatures near 67 in Santa Rosa and Napa, a high near 65 in San Francisco, and near 68 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Picture of our valley this morning, a little hazy out there. We did have some thin fog, and it was really thin. You'd be through it in about 30 seconds. And so we'll see how the day goes, but there we go, high and dry again.
All right. Well, are you taking your kids to church? Well, Dr. Anthony George looks at the importance of doing exactly that.
But I'll tell you something that just burns me up. Are these young people in their 30s, 40s, and you've got them even in their 50s, that are begrudging their parents for taking them to church when they were children. Boy, they have support groups and podcasts, and they're deconstructing their faith, and my mom made us go to church. It was never an option for us. And I want to say to these people, you're going to be judged by God for dishonoring your father and your mother, who were doing their best to teach you about God and to show you what matters in life. Well, they were hypocrites. They didn't live at home. Well, did they teach you about God and take you to the place to hear the Bible? God's not a hypocrite, so get over your hypocritical parents and be thankful they took you to church. If you got dragged to church and learned about Jesus and got saved, that means when you die, you won't go to hell, you're going to heaven, and the fact that you hated to be dragged to church won't matter. Would you rather they hadn't taken you to church and you never heard about Jesus and you went to hell when you died, from which you'll never escape? I'm over it. Over it. I know a lot of people who wish they'd had godly parents who had taken them to church. A lot of people wish their parents had taken them to church. And just so you know, I'm old school on this. You know, the ones without kids are the experts.
I remember my mom and dad taking us to church, and what I remember about being in church with them is how good they sang. They would sing and they belted it out. I remember being a little kid watching them singing, and obviously made an impression on me because, you know, we continue that tradition. But what happened was we would go to church, and Sunday school was before church.
Yes.
And so we would do the Sunday school thing, and now we've gone through Sunday school, and the parents come pick us up and take us into church with them, and now our little attention spans are about run out. Now we start misbehaving, my older brother and I. So we would get home, and sometimes we misbehaved to the point where it was required with a little discipline. And so we would get a little bit of a spanking after church. I remember one time before church, my dad came walking in. We were little kids. My dad says, you know what? This little thing of you guys misbehaving in church and coming home and getting a little spanking isn't working. So this morning we're going to have the spanking first. Mom is watching right now. She's going, yeah, I remember that. We never had that trouble anymore.
Really? And you still love Jesus? Really?
Just behave yourself.
Well, there you go.
A little confession there, huh?
Well, I'm beginning to think that Dr. Anthony George is your uncle.
Why?
He obviously put some jalapeno on his cereal that morning.
He was really fired up.
He's fired up.
Yeah.
You ought to see him go after, let's say, people who are on the left side of the aisle.
Oh, yeah.
Now, and it's not that he's political. It's just that he's common sense and he's biblical.
And he's biblical, right?
So
right.
Well.
Okay.
Okay. Spanking, huh?
Spanking. Does anybody spank anymore?
Anybody?
Is it allowed?
is it allowed?
Yeah.
You know, George Barna, I'll squeeze this in. George Barna, I asked him the question, do you think the lack of theological understanding or theological training in America to the point where we're not making disciples began when we stopped having Sunday school? He goes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can come to church and you can go through you can hear the Bible, preached line by line by line. But did you ever learn the catechism of your denomination? Did you ever learn the catechism of your church's belief? Do you know what your church believes? Okay. Well, that's a rhetorical question. Do you know what your church believes?
Yeah.
And do you support it?
Yes. Amen.
A lot of people don't.
And I think the big thing is, and you hit it on the first one, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
They really don't.
All right. Well, so much for all that stuff. Okay. Anyway, Mom, he got spanked. It didn't work. I'm sending him back down to Vice. Hey, he needs another spanking, Mom. We'll be right. Oh, let's take a look at the top story.
Okay. Yes. Please.
All right. Good morning to you. 12 minutes past the hour. A couple of big stories. Well, first of all, the First Lady's documentary was a huge hit across the country, sold out in all the theaters. Yeah. This was not a movie, it was a documentary. And in the documentary class, it ended up being a huge hit. They said it made about $8 million over the weekend, which is the beginning. And they think that the residual from this will be a financial win all the way around. They're talking maybe in excess of $100 million, but it cost $40 to make, so that's $60 in profit. But it was launched Friday, and away it went, and it's doing very, very well across the country.
And it's interesting because the articles that I'm reading about it, indicating how well it has been doing, indicates that it's a big surprise to a lot of Hollywood insiders. Wonder who those insiders are.
Some of the best movies now are made outside of Hollywood.
Yes, indeed.
Can you say The Chosen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Senate Republicans now are in a tight spot because over the weekend, supposedly the Senate Republicans passed a spending bill that went through the president and had to go to the House. And it looks like the House is not going to put up with it. The House is not in session. Maybe today had a lot to do with weather and everything. But here's the deal. We're in shutdown right now. A partial shutdown. Your question, I can't answer. I don't know what is and isn't being funded. But there's several pushes now, and that is Senate Republicans are saying to House Republicans, don't pass the Trump-backed shutdown bill or anti-shutdown bill and fund ICE, because that new bill took funding for ICE out. Okay, there's a move today, I was just reading a little while ago, now there's a move for Republicans in the House to defund Davos in the bill.
Okay.
So it looks like we're going to be in for several days of shutdown, and where this is going to go, right in the middle of potential military action somewhere in the world, and our government shutdown.
So Democrats are going to shut down the government again, this time in...
Oh, no, guy, remember, this is Trump's shutdown. It always is and always will be.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, and that's because Trump wants to enforce the law, and Democrats, again, are choosing to protect lawbreakers instead of letting the government run to continue benefits and the services for regular people.
Yeah.
Regular people.
So pretty messy stuff out there. All right, the other deal is we all know that since Cuba is no longer getting oil from Venezuela, it is falling apart rapidly and could completely fall. And the president said over the weekend, we may be making a deal on Cuba. So here's the question. We thought Canada was going to be 51.
Oh, yeah.
We thought Greenland was going to be 51.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Is Cuba going to be 51?
I don't know.
Or are all these going to be, well, Canada, leave Canada out of it, will Greenland and Cuba become U.S. territories like Puerto Rico is?
Yeah, could. Well, it's a possibility.
I mean, they'll have a seat in Congress.
Right.
But they're not states. I don't know how all that works. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
So here's what the president had to say about Cuba.
Well, Cuba's a failing nation. It has been for a long time, but now it doesn't have Venezuela to prop it up. So we're talking to the people from Cuba, the highest people in Cuba, to see what happens. I want the people that came here that were horribly treated by Cuba to be taken care of, to be able to go back and do what they have to do. They have their family there. They haven't been able to see them in years, many, many years. So I think we're going to make a deal with Cuba. It's in bad shape. Cuba's in bad shape. Cuba has a humanitarian problem.
Interesting. Talking about the complications of repatriating Cuba. We don't think about that. You know, because there are a lot of families that were dislodged from Cuba when the communists came to power. A lot of people lost property and business and money. And so how do you make all that right?
So we have the word for you today in Cuba. Now, I can't give you all the details.
Okay.
But I can tell you this, that we print it there. They roll it out to get the crease in it. They literally take Coke bottles and roll it out to put the crease in it.
Really?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And it's delivered on bicycles and motorcycles to churches all over the country. And some places, they don't have a Bible. This is all they have.
Wow.
Okay. So it's an amazing thing. So if Cuba falls and it becomes under the jurisdiction of the United States somehow. Now you got to remember that's a communist country in the northern hemisphere, complete contrast to the Monroe Doctrine. So you have to figure that one out, how that's all going to work. But we'll see. But Cuba is clearly in trouble.
And it's interesting to see it at this stage because our entire lives we have seen this rogue nation 90 miles off our shore.
Bay of Pigs?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Remember that?
Yes. The missile crisis, the standoff, at the brink of nuclear war until the USSR blinked. I mean, it's as close as we've come, and it was over Cuba.
It was over Cuba.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of the weekend, and I'll end with this. It showed a street in Cuba with all the garbage piled up.
Oh, wow.
And then it showed a street over the weekend in New York with all the garbage piled up under Mondani.
Oh.
You looked at these two pictures, first world, third world.
Yeah.
Oh. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Tries to water you down where beliefs cannot be spoken too loud. I'll stand for truth.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
Hi, I'm Ryan Robertson, host of a brand new program on theDove, Ministries on the Move. Ministries on the Move spotlights the incredible work of how God is using everyday people and organizations, putting their faith into action, serving the hurting, strengthening families, and sharing the hope of the gospel in practical ways. Be inspired and discover these Ministries on the Move. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m., right here on theDove TV. Encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us.
Good morning to y'all out there in Happy Land. Well, some backyard news. We had a little bit of a problem up in Portland. Where? Oh, this little town north of us here. Okay. Apparently, a lot of protesters were blocking and surrounding the ICE building there in Portland. And federal agents had to use tear gas in a massive crowd. So here's the question. The federal agents are standing in front of a federal building to protect it. Mm-hmm. Okay? And here comes this mass crowd to do what? to damage the building?
Something, yeah.
So they crossed all the lines. They weren't supposed to be there. And now they're using children.
Right.
They're bringing children and pets, and they have all this stuff.
That should be a crime in itself.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of headlines. It's getting everything they want it to be. But ICE now is the devil, and so that's in Portland. I don't know what you're going to do with this. It's real simple. If the mayor would say to the police, go down there and protect this building and tell those people to go home, it'd be all over.
That's all it takes. That's it.
And they won't do it.
Yep.
So there we are. All right, let's take a look at Wall Street for a Monday morning. 22 minutes past the hour. Thank you, Preston. He has the smart lawn. His wife has ice cream.
What a combo.
Yeah, well, yeah. Over there at the Twin Cities over there in Central Point. Have you gone to the ice cream?
I haven't been there, no.
A mint chip.
Ooh,
that's the one you want.
Okay.
All right, anyway, the Dow's up 181, almost 182. The Nas is up 22, and the S&P up 8.86. So starting today with a little green ink, not bad. Let's see what that's done. Gold is still up 47.53. That's actually down, but back up because it was up over 5,000, so it's back off $300. Look at that. Silver's down considerably, even though it's up $80. It wasn't over 100, remember?
Yes. Yeah.
And crude oil's at 65.17. So mixed.
Wow.
Mixed numbers this morning.
Okay, well, isn't it interesting on how the left really liked face coverings when only Antifa was using them? When ICE showed up and they put face masks on because they didn't want to be doxxed, meaning they didn't want people to take their pictures, then post who they were, where they lived, how many kids they had, where the kids went to school, and everything like that, which is, you know, you can understand it. Well, Senator John Fetterman was on Fox News' The Sunday Briefing, and he talked about how important it is to secure America's border and to protect ICE agents' identity.
About what a disaster the border was in the Biden administration, and then I arrived at, starting with the Trump administration. I met with, and actually one of the only Dem that actually met with her, that now it's like we could agree in my office. It's like, secure our border and deport every criminal migrant in our country, and we agree with that. So that's, to me, the only thing we should be focusing on now as ICE for me. And I'm always going to support those kind of efforts to do those things. And then some of the tragedies that happened in Minneapolis, and I don't know why that's helping or advancing any kinds of an agenda. And I warned Trump in my call to remove Nome is like, you can't have like a Mayorkas kind of situation, like just call it what it is. And now for me, take the win that you secured our border. And I've acknowledged that as a Democrat. So for me, people are dying, and I don't think America really wants people going after otherwise, hardworking migrants in these communities right now. Yeah. That's where I'm at. And now I was proud to join my friend Katie Britt from Alabama, and I was the Democratic co-sponsor for the Lakin Riley bill. That was entirely appropriate too. I come from this as an absolute secure border Democrat here, and that's where we're at. Like, focus on the secure our border, deport all the criminals, and that we can figure out now. And I also say now, some of the agents wearing masks, I think primarily that's driven by people are going to dox those people. That's a serious concern too. Absolutely, they could target their families, and they are organizing these people to put their names out there. So don't ever dox people and target their families too. So that's part of the churn as well now too.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. I gotta think the left's beginning to hate him.
They've got to be. Yes.
That was a very pragmatic answer.
Oh my goodness.
And it kind of underscores my concern too. Can't we figure out something about the migrant worker that's been here for years?
Yeah.
Okay. Can't we figure that one out? That happened long before this other problem is. And then the other one is, keep going after the criminal one. And they know who they are. And they know where they are.
Yes.
And ICE is working fine in a lot of cities. It's just not in Portland and not in Minneapolis at the moment.
Yeah.
And New York probably won't go anywhere in New York.
If it's blue, there's going to be a problem.
Yeah. So anyway, gosh. And he's targeted to be replaced by his own member.
He'll get primaried.
You get primaried.
Yep.
That's become a verb.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, that's just the way it is around here in the little old, we're not River City.
No, we're not.
What are we?
No, although we could be, the road's pretty close.
Wait, I'm from Sacramento.
Yeah.
And we were called River City.
Yeah.
We had two rivers. We had the Sacramento River and the American
River, yeah.
And they would, we'd fish for shad right at the mouth of the American and the Sacramento.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, I fished shad on the East Coast, but I never fished shad here.
Oh,
really?
There was several runs of shad a year.
No kidding.
And it was right there with the water temperature because the American River was colder than the Sacramento River.
Okay. Did you use shad darts? Do you remember what you fished with?
No.
Yeah, shad darts. They're like little jigs.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like fishing where you see those places in the Amazon where the fish jump in the boat.
Yeah,
Shad will almost do that.
Yes, you're right.
I mean, they're out there flipping around on the water all the time.
Uh-huh. And they're really oily. It's an interesting fish if you want to eat it.
And the broadcast company that I worked for at the time was KCRA Radio and TV. That's where I started this industry. I flew their airplane for quite a few years. The Kelly brothers, who owned that, started a bank called River City Bank.
Oh.
Very successful bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, River City, that's where I got the term. I can't use it here, so what do we use here?
Yeah, I don't know.
The Rogue Valley.
Yeah, Valley City.
Valley City? Okay, anyway. We're going to go look for some tater tots. We'll be right back.
Okay. Okay.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house. We chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
Hey, this is Ed, co-owner of Visiting Angels. To continue to serve our seniors, we need more caregivers with a heart to serve. Our mission statement is honoring the art of giving, which means we honor you, the caregiver. We know it's our people that make Visiting Angels the best in-home care provider and a great place to work. Come be our next amazing caregiver. Give us a call or apply online. At Visiting Angels, we're committed to you because we honor the art of giving.
Welcome home to the Dove, an encouraging place, an informative place, a safe network for your entire family, offering hope.
Welcome home.
The Dove's mission is to be a beacon of truth, providing authentic faith-based content to those seeking Christ and those faithful, from a who's who of respected Christian teachers.
Welcome home to the Dove.
The Dove Network, broadcasting and streaming reliable, trustworthy news, information, and talk. Featuring Mornings on the Dove, Focus Today, CBN News, and other current affairs programming to stay connected. The Dove Network, a trusted friend, enriching your faith with reliable, inspiring content and spiritual resources that will change your life forever.
Welcome home to the Dove TV, radio, and the Dove.us.
The Dove, encouraging and informative. You are welcome here.
Hi, good morning to you. Half past the hour. Okay, we'll put it that way. Good morning to you. We are in a partial government shutdown. This could be extended throughout the next several days because there's a lot of push and pull over the budget. So we'll see how this goes. A lot of Republicans now don't want the current budget that was passed in the Senate to go through the House because it defunds, or doesn't fund, I should say, ICE.
Yeah.
Doesn't totally wipe it out, but doesn't increase it. Now there's a move to defund Davos. So here you go.
Yeah.
Here we go again. And as I said earlier, all the members of the House and the Senate, including the leadership and the president, they all need to be spanked. This is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it would seem to me that when they went back into session at the beginning of the year, they should have solved this thing right there. Why do they wait to every time it's to the last minute? Yes. You know, they're not doing themselves any. You just got to ask yourself. These are the problem with the institution. Let me put it that way. Not all the people. The problem with the institution. It lives on the other guy's money. It never earned. It never earned what it spends.
Yeah, great point. Yep.
It didn't earn it.
Yep.
It just spends it.
Yep.
And so that's government for you.
Yeah,
so.
it is.
In the meantime, we got a lot of problems around the world, and what's going to happen in the Middle East, especially with Iran? We have a huge military contingency right off the coastline there. We got the USS Abraham Lincoln over there. We got military bases all around. They're talking to Israel, and yet people are being executed in Iran. How long is this going to go on? Is a deal going to be made, or are bombs going to drop?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's check in with CBN Newswatch and get caught up.
This is CBN Newswatch.
We begin in the Middle East, where the question is, will President Trump carry out an attack on Iran, or will negotiations hold off a strike? As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, the future and fate of Iran and its people rest in the balance.
President Trump responded to the warning from Iran's supreme leader that a U.S. attack could spark a regional war.
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you're going to say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
Iran canceled a live fire exercise in the Strait of Hormuz after a U.S. warning, and representatives of the two nations reportedly are preparing for a meeting this week in Ankara, Turkey. Former Canadian parliamentarian and Iranian-born Goldie Gamari told CBN News she believes negotiations are a classic Iranian tactic.
They're going to say and do whatever they can in order to remain in power and in order to buy time so that they can rebuild and become strong again. So absolutely.
Gamari is in contact with those inside Iran.
What I'm hearing from inside occupied Iran is that people are not giving up. The revolution is still happening. Iranians, you know, it's basically now or never. And Iranians are definitely looking forward to military intervention by the United States and possibly Israel. So the mood is one of resilience. The mood is one of anger at the Islamic regime. The Islamic regime is dead. They just don't know it yet.
On Fox News Sunday, Senator Lindsey Graham sent a message to President Trump that he can't talk like Reagan and act like Obama.
The Ayatollah will never be our friend. He's a religious Nazi. President Trump, you said help is on the way. That has to be real. It has to be real soon. Do it, Mr. President. The people of Iran are begging you to be on their side. You have done it so good. You are Reagan plus. This is the defining moment in your presidency. Stand by the people. The Ayatollah falls. The region changes, bigger than the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Evangelist Robbie Dawkins has been in contact with the underground church in Iran, one of the fastest growing in the world. He believes the fall of the Iranian regime will lead to an explosion of evangelism that could rival what happened in the former Soviet Union after the Berlin Wall came down.
I believe the regime will completely fall and the people of Iran will be completely liberated. And as we see that happen, we're going to see a complete transformation. I and my team, we're ready to go to Iran and start equipping and evangelizing like never before. I know many other groups are too. But this is a time we need to be praying for that, and the Iranian people are ready for it.
Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem. Chris, what are the dangers of these negotiations?
Well, Gary, as Golda Gamari said, that, you know, it's just a delaying tactic, that the Iranians really are masters at stalling. They did that during the nuclear negotiations. They did it for years, actually, Gary. In the meantime, the regime is killing more protesters. They're consolidating their grip on the streets. And on the other hand, in these negotiations, President Trump, he is the man of the art of the deal, so he has a history of pulling the plug if he believes Iran is not negotiating in good faith. Pretty much he did the same thing, I think, last year before the 12-day war in June, Gary, where he gave Iran one last chance before Operation Midnight Hammer. I think he's giving them one more chance today.
Ayatollah Khamenei is threatening a regional war, but would anyone actually help Iran, Chris?
Well, it remains to be seen. Right now, their proxies in the region, they really don't have the ability they once had. Hezbollah was usually their ace in the hole. They had maybe 200,000 rockets and mortars and missiles. They're nothing like they were before October 7th. Same thing with Hamas, same thing with the Houthis. So Iran's proxies really can't contribute much of anything. And Iran apparently doesn't have any treaties with nations that obligate them to join them in the war. That would be China or Russia. They have alliances, economic ties, but no military alliance that would force them to come to Iran's aid. It's also unlikely any of the Gulf states would help Iran. They don't want to oppose the United States. On the other hand, they don't want to let the U.S. or even Israel use their airspace. So even despite what the Ayatollah says, it doesn't look like a regional war may develop, and Iran may be on its own.
Well, there are reports of mysterious explosions in several Iranian cities. What have you heard?
Well, we've heard explosions in several Iranian cities, including Bandar Abbas, Tabriz, even in Tehran, and a few more cities around Iran. The Iranian explanation is that there are gas leaks. Those are the same explanations they gave last year before the 12-day war, where there were similar explosions in different places. And the government of Iran is also denying that the IRGC naval commander was killed in one of those explosions. Some people are wondering, well, could this be the Mossad? We know in that war in June in 2025, the Mossad was operating with a lot of internal opposition groups against the regime. And also the possibility, could this be a prelude to a U.S. attack, just like happened last June? But these mysterious attacks really have no explanation by the official government. They're just denying them and saying they're just gas explosions.
Wow. Well, there's a couple things there. Senator Lindsey Graham really put the president in the box by saying, hey, look, you promised you had their back. Where are you? This is a defining moment in the presidency, and I think it is. You can no longer, in a humanitarian way, allow this to happen. Right. So I'm hoping and believing that there's some kind of united effort with Israel and other people in the area of what they're going to do with this. Gas explosion all of a sudden in a town. What is going on here?
Yeah, mysterious explosions. Now, Chris Mitchell also clarified a couple things, too. Iran's got a lot of alliances, but they have no treaties with other nations, including China or North Korea or anything else, that would draw them into a conflict. They don't have any treaties that say, if you are attacked, we will come and defend you. So they're basically isolated. They're on their own.
Yeah, and I've often wondered, I'm sure they're thinking about what happens after.
Sure.
So let's say they have an attack.
Yes.
Does another Middle East country come in and grab them? Do the people rise up and create their own government and have an election? Does the son of the Shah go back? Yeah. I mean, all this has got to be on the table for discussion.
Yeah, because what happens in a power vacuum sometimes ends up like Libya. When Gaddafi was toppled, it was chaos there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're not through the woods yet with Venezuela. I mean, we put this vice president in as president, or they did, or whatever, how that came about. And she's now kind of waving her saber in the air, and she's not really pro-America.
It sounds like it, yeah.
So these things are a little bit more tricky than we think they are. All right, talking about tricky.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. In northern Oregon and southern Washington, patchy fog, then mostly cloudy with a chance of rain and highs in the low to mid-50s for Vancouver and Portland. A chance of showers and partly sunny in mid-50s in Wilsonville and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley, a chance of rain, then clearing to partly sunny in mid-50s in Salem and Albany. Some patchy fog, then mostly sunny in 56 in Corvallis. In Eugene, mostly sunny and near 59. In Central Oregon, partly sunny with a high near 55 in Prineville. Mostly sunny skies for Bend and Sun River with daytime highs in the low 50s. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny with a high temperature near 52. Along the Oregon coast, patchy fog in Coos Bay, then sunny with a high near 61. Mostly sunny skies from Port Orford through Brookings and Crescent City, California with daytime highs in the upper 50s. In southern Oregon, patchy dense fog with freezing fog for the Rogue Valley, then mostly sunny with highs in the mid-50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Patchy morning fog in Klamath Falls, then sunny in low 50s. Into Northern California, patchy fog, then sunny with a high near 54 in Wairika. Mostly sunny and near 70 in Redding and 65 in Chico. Patchy dense morning fog in Sacramento, then mostly sunny and near 62. Patchy fog across the Bay Area this morning, then clearing to sunny skies with daytime high temperatures near 67 in Santa Rosa and Napa, a high near 65 in San Francisco, and near 68 in San Jose. It's a snapshot of your Monday weather from Grange Co-op.
Hey, look at that. Ooh, that little spark out there is called the sun.
It is.
And it's coming up, and that's to the northeast of us there. Beautiful shot this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So you look out our window here, it's cold.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, speaking of cold, nothing like this. On this day, 1925, against impossible odds, a dog sled team raced to save a town. With Nome, Alaska facing a deadly diphtheria outbreak, the only life-saving antitoxin was nearly 700 miles away. Winter storms grounded planes, temperatures plunged to 85 degrees below zero, and time was running out. So mushers and sled dogs stepped in. In a relay that covered 674 miles in just 5.5 days, teams handed the serum off across frozen rivers and blinding snow. The final leg was driven by Gunnar Kasson and his lead dog Balto, who pushed through whiteout conditions to deliver the medicine and save countless lives. The mission became known as the Great Race of Mercy or the Great Serum Race, and decades later, it inspired the Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race, which honors those mushers and dogs who proved courage, teamwork, and endurance could triumph over nature itself. From a life-saving dash to a legendary race, Alaska still remembers the run that changed history. Mm-hmm.
Now, I did not know that twist.
The Iditarod twist?
Yeah, that it was a rescue mission for medicine.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
That is really amazing.
Yeah. In the teeth of a storm like you wouldn't believe. Cool stuff.
The pastor that I interviewed from Chicago, the young guy, he did the Iditarod and almost died.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and but he made it through. But
no kidding.
Yeah, I don't know what would provoke anybody to do that. I mean, that's the ultimate adventurous because you know what 0-0 visibility is?
Yeah,
it's 0-0.
I mean, here.
Yeah, and you're supposed to keep moving with that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Good stuff all the way around. Well, here's one for you. Sam Alberry is from Crossway. Crossway is one of the new apologetic groups out there, really doing a great job in so many ways. And he talks about of course he talks about himself, being united with Christ.
There are so many parts of life that our union with Jesus affects and helps us with. One of those is how we think about the future. Because I'm united to Jesus, what is true of Jesus becomes true of me. So Paul can say we've died with Christ. Spiritually, we've already been raised with him. And so physically, because Jesus has been raised, our resurrection is inevitable. Somebody once used the analogy of being in a plane. Once you're on a plane, what is true of the plane becomes true of you. And so if the plane is taken off, you've taken off. If the plane's delayed, you're delayed. If the plane's landed, you've landed. And so if we are in Jesus and Jesus has been bodily raised from the dead, our own resurrection is inevitable. It's an absolute certainty. And so to understand the certainty of my future in Jesus, I look back and look at what has happened to him, and knowing that what has happened to him will happen to those who are in him. So Paul talks about this in places like 1 Corinthians 15. He says, Jesus is the first fruits of all who will follow him. He's the first resurrection, and all the other resurrections will follow for those who are in him. So it means there's a lot I don't know about my immediate future. I don't know what's going to happen in the world over the next few years, but I do know what is going to happen to my body and my soul long term, because I've seen what's happened to Jesus. And by his grace, I'm united to him. And so he would have to come back down from heaven and climb back into the grave for me to now not have hope. This union with Christ is secure because Jesus' work in bringing us to himself is finished. I can be sure this union is not something he's going to change his mind on. He's not going to fire me. He's not going to break up with me. He's not going to dump me. He's not going to ununite me from himself. And so because I'm in him, I can't now not be in him. And being in him means what is true of him becomes true of me.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick banana break. We'll be right back. Ukulele break.
Dude.
Up on the heights, oh, oh, you let me go, oh.
When plumbing emergencies hit, and they do, you want help from a plumber you can trust, and you need it now. On It Plumbing to the rescue. On It Plumbing gets the job done right with integrity and quality craftsmanship. On It Plumbing offers military discounts, senior discounts, and discounts for KDOV listeners too. Licensed, bonded, and insured. On It Plumbing, CCB 229436. No job too big or small. On It Plumbing does them all. See us at onitplumbing.net. onitplumbing.net.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service, where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
EMS says we're going to take her to the hospital. More doctors and more machines start coming. So I said, what's going on? She says, they're giving her chest compressions. I said, for what? She said she can't breathe. And I said, God, I say, this is your child. I said, I trust you.
Monday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
Quite a few years ago, I had to make the decision, were we going to be all Christian music or were we going to go into more of a program format? And I decided to go the program format because Christian music was still trying to find its way. It has a lot of variations to it. It's very encouraging. It's a big business. But we've decided to stay more in a format that fit and complemented the news side of what we were doing. Welcome back. Well, listen, a lot going on in the news today. We'll see. We are partially shut down as a government, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So we're partially shut down.
Yeah.
Anyway, Maria there on Fox asked White House Press Secretary about the president's pick for the chairman of the Feds. And in the meantime, Senator Tom Tillis, this popped up last night. Okay. Senator Tom Tillis may block the president's nomination for the new Fed chair unless he drops his indictment against Powell, the current chair, on mishandling the funds of the building. Okay, pretty complicated.
Yeah.
You know what?
What?
I wish you would too.
Yeah.
It's an unnecessary thing.
Yeah.
If there was fraud committed by building it, it'll come out in another way, and there's more than one person involved.
Right.
Okay.
It just looks vindictive.
It was my opinion. It was kind of a middle school problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, here's the two talking about it.
Well, I certainly don't think a United States sitting senator should be holding the entire country and our economy hostage over the fact that he has some political disagreements with an investigation that the Department of Justice is overseeing. And the DOJ is overseeing a probe into Jerome Powell, a legitimate probe. And Jerome Powell is expected to be out of this job in May anyway. So I don't understand Senator Tillis's argument there. President Trump has appointed Kevin Warsh, who is a highly qualified and distinguished economist with a very exceptional resume. And the White House is going to work with the Senate to quickly confirm him because we need a new chairman of the Fed, not just for timing purposes, but also for our economy. Look, President Trump has brought the core annualized inflation rate down to 1.4%. This is a remarkable turnaround from the record high 9% inflation we saw under the previous administration. And President Trump has done the work. His policies are working. And the interest interest rates for the American people need to be lowered. Kevin Warsh ultimately will make that decision himself, but it's very unfortunate that Senator Tillis is making such comments.
Okay. But on the other hand, all right, the DOJ is investigating whether or not he mishandled the remodeling of the Fed's building. I don't know. The president, remember they did the walkthrough and he pulls this piece of paper out.
Yes.
You know, you're a gazillion dollars over budget here.
Right, right.
You don't argue with a contractor about how the job's being done, you know. The question is, was it deliberate? In other words, overruns are overruns.
Yeah.
But an indictment suggests that there's under-the-table kickbacks.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, if that occurs, and if that has happened, yeah, the indictments probably make sense.
Right.
But if it's just poor management or overruns that you have no control, I'll tell you this, on our remodel here, boy, did I learn a lot.
Did you? Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Would you do anything different?
Would I do anything different? Well, I'll just go back to my other statement. I learned a lot.
Okay.
Would I do something? Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I would, because I learned.
Yeah, right.
But, was it deliberate? No. I just, you know, I was dabbling in a field that's not my area of expertise.
Oh, yeah.
And you're trusting people, and you're looking at things, and I'm looking at this, and I go, okay, this, that, and you're making decisions on the fly. But the point is, if Jerome Powell was mismanaging the money and getting some kind of a kickback or giving kickbacks to some of the suppliers or the contractors, all right, that's a problem.
Yeah.
If it's just an overrun and you're dealing with federal dollars that are easily to be mismanaged, you'd have to prove that he is guilty of some sort. And I don't know if that is the case or if this was just politics and him being mad at Powell because he wouldn't lower the interest rate.
This also brings up the question, Perry, about the independence of the Department of Justice. Now, we've heard it mentioned that Trump should drop this investigation into Jerome Powell. Is the president involved in an investigation? Doesn't the DOJ, you know, operate independently? Were they under the guise of the president to do this? What say you?
You always ask a good question.
Thanks.
Every once in a while.
Every once.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, but the point, you ask a great question. I don't know. I don't know if the president can pick up the phone and say, Pam, dump that case. Let's move on.
Right. Right.
I don't know if he can do that. I would assume that the answer to that question, he probably has the influence to do that.
Okay.
Whether he has the legitimate power to do that, I don't know.
Right. Because, you know, we wonder this a lot. We saw it in the last administration. We thought that the Biden administration was using DOJ as their implement against their opponents.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, maybe they do wield influence.
But how would the DOJ, with all the other things going on in life, which is a ton, know to go after a guy that may have mishandled a construction project?
That's a good question. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Funny you should mention that.
Well, the shoe fits on both feet. You know, I don't know.
You're right.
Politics is luck. It's nasty.
It is.
It's really nasty.
All right. Well, check this out.
All right.
This is nice.
Yeah.
A St. Louis man is being hailed as a neighborhood hero after taking snow removal into his own hands and footing the bill himself.
Kenneth Harrell rented heavy equipment with his own money and spent days clearing snow-packed streets for free, helping neighbors get moving again after winter weather made many roads nearly impassable. Harrell doesn't even live in the neighborhood he helped, but when he saw people stuck on the streets, he knew he had to act. So he rented a skid steer loader, spending about $500, and went to work. Videos of the unofficial snowplow quickly spread online, with residents calling it a true act of community. Even city officials took notice, saying if someone's helping, they're not about to stop him. No paycheck, no spotlight, just one man proving that sometimes the fastest help comes from a neighbor who decides to step up.
Well,
I love it. Hey, Mom, I remember Dad doing the exact same thing. 1966 blizzard, North Dakota. It was famous, and our whole town was just buried. And guys like my dad brought their skid steers out and started digging the town out. It took them a while, but they dug it out.
Well, someday in the Dove's inventory, we got to have our own skidster.
Yes.
We're constantly doing work at tower sites. You know. That is the greatest little machine ever invented.
I love them. I love them.
And then when they went to track, they went from wheels to track.
Yes.
They're terrific, you know.
Yes.
But I'm up there moving rocks with shovels, you know. You ever?
Yeah.
Someday.
I spent days on a skid steer once, and I love it.
That's a great tool.
Yep.
Jeremiah 32:27. Here's the verse for you today. I am the Lord, the God of all mankind. Is anything too hard for me? Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You serve the God of creation, who just make that sun come up this morning.
Amen.
We'll be right back.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
They're fun-loving twins. They love God, hunting, and pranking each other. Join the Hamptons for outdoor adventure every weekend on Twin Factor. Brought to you by Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Truly excellent service.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
I know many people that have tried everything in life and they have not found satisfaction, inward peace, joy, assurance, and security. And they're still searching. You'll never find peace and joy and happiness until you yield your life to Christ. You never will. You have a moment right now. The Bible says now is the accepted time. Today is the day of salvation. People are searching for the answers. You must make the choice.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for Santa Rosa and the wine country. Seen on KUKR 27 and these Dove TV affiliates.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. One of the questions that's popping up, especially after you listen and read the headlines these days, is the political rhetoric getting out of control? Is it too hot? Can we get the temperature down a little bit? Well, big questions, few answers, but here's a guy that can help us with it, and always an honor to have with us Drew Allen. He's the Vice President of Client Development there with Publius PR, and he's also the author of America's Last Stand, Will You Vote to Save or Destroy America in 2024? However, you can put 26 and 28, and he also has For Christ and Country, which is his book as it relates to Eric will talk about that coming up in just a few moments. And let's see, he does have a website, drewallen.substack.com. And there's a picture of the landing page. Drew, good to see you, friend. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Perry. Good morning. Good to be with you.
Thank you, thank you. Back to your new book there. What's going on there? I'm just seeing it for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, it's about my personal transformation after Charlie Kirk's assassination. But actually, it addresses exactly what we're going to talk about today, which is this violence. Because I argue in the book that Charlie Kirk's assassination, it wasn't a one-off. Obviously, it was the culmination of years of dehumanization from Democrats. And we need to have a national conversation and reckoning about what the left has unleashed on this country. But anyway, it's unrelated right now. We'll talk about the subjects, but you can't buy the book right now. I had an article come out. A lot of people tried to buy it, and Amazon's been censoring this book since it came out in December. So you never know when you can get it.
Okay. All right, I want to come back to the hot rhetoric that's out there, and it appears if you look at legacy media, the left is winning, but on the other hand, you go back into America away from the headlines, and there seems to be a silent revival. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the forces of good are certainly rising and winning right now in this country, but that isn't to say that we don't have a very ferocious and frankly spiritually evil competitor out there, which is modern day leftism. Everything's been flipped on its head, Perry. I mean, we live in a country right now where, ICE agents who are out there doing their jobs to carry out, legal deportations are vilified and demonized and attacked, and criminal illegals, these leftist protesters, wanted to defend and prevent from being deported. I mean, when a protester gets killed by ICE, they want to abolish ICE. But when Laken Riley, a Georgia nursing student, American, female, unarmed, when she gets raped and bludgeoned to death by an illegal criminal alien in Georgia, the left wants to keep an open border. So it's hard to make sense of all this.
It appears to me, and I don't want to be over too simplistic, but at the bottom line here, we are now on the threshold, some would say we've already crossed over, of complete lawlessness. Spiritually, you can say right has become wrong, wrong has become right. It's a reprobate thinking. But what we're experiencing here, that if you weaken one law, you've weakened them all. Do you think we are in a complete lawless state or about to be?
Well, depending on where you live, you're already living in a completely lawless state. That's true where I live currently in California. It's certainly true in Minneapolis. Any of these states that have claimed for years and years, if not a decade or more, to be sanctuary states or sanctuary cities, those are cities that are living in lawlessness, that they would have the audacity to, one, violate constitutionally, like we're seeing now with the supremacy clause. Federal ICE, federal law enforcement, ICE in this case, they supersede any local state decision that would, deter deportations, et cetera. So, yes, we're living in lawlessness, and we're living in lawlessness too, because what these protesters are engaged in, it's not, peaceful chants of kumbaya. They are interfering with law enforcement. In Los Angeles, there have been riots where they are assaulting ICE agents. I mean, we've seen this everywhere else too, and this gets excused. And so the point is, for the left and the Democrat Party, the law is what they decide it to be. So, it's moral relativism. It's relativism when it comes to the law as well. They get to pick and choose depending on how they deem its morality. So if ICE is evil, well, you have to disobey the law because that's righteous. This is how they view things, and that's why it's so dangerous. But, of course, it's because they're not rooted in any kind of true north. They don't have any spirituality. They don't believe in God like you and me.
It's been said, and I think obviously so, that the rise of lawlessness and making ICE the devil in Minneapolis is a subterfuge to steer away from the fraud. And then in the middle of this, you have Governor Walz saying he's never going to run for public office again, but he's going to be involved. Do you think the fraud issue is still alive?
Yeah, it's still alive. I would tell people that this administration, the Trump administration, is doing many things quietly behind the scenes. They're building a case against the deep state right now as well. Obviously, they just went in and took 700 boxes worth of voter ballot-related information from Fulton County in Georgia. So things are moving, okay? But yes, this is a distraction from the fraud, but it's more than that, Perry. It's not just that they want their own misdeeds out of the news. Obviously, they need an issue for midterms, but more than that, there's a long-term reason they're doing this, and that's because the Democrat Party has derived their political power from illegal aliens. In California, for example, illegals are represented in Congress. The population, the census has been counting non-citizens. And so when you go to apportion representation in the House of Representatives, you shouldn't be rewarded power for people who aren't citizens here for being a sanctuary state. And that's what's happened. And so the Democrat Party understands that they need these illegals here. Democrats are using immigration. You can call it replacement theory, whatever you want, but they're using immigration obviously to benefit and bolster their party. Look at Minneapolis and Minnesota, where the Somali refugees, whether they're legal or illegal, they have brought them in, and they have this alliance where they are allowing these Somalians to rip off and commit, unprecedented levels of fraud, more than $7 billion worth of fraud since 2017. And in return, they vote and support the Democrat Party. So this is how they operate.
Back to sanctuary cities, there's a lot of discussion as to whether or not sanctuary cities are legal. Now, we have to separate sanctuary city from sanctuary state. Mm-hmm. And somebody are looking at, can Congress get involved or pass a bill that would disavow sanctuary states? And that could be against the 10th Amendment. I guess the question is, Drew, do you think in time we could create, I don't even know how you'd enforce that, but sanctuary states would become illegal? You can't do this?
Yeah, I mean, constitutionally, those things are already illegal. I mean, look, we can just get to the Supremacy Clause, for example. I mean, the idea, so if you have federal law, right, that delineates what immigration is and what those laws are, right? So we know that it's a crime to come into this country illegally. That shouldn't even be controversial. And yet you have states that are incentivizing these illegals to stay there, and they're allowing them to work. They're giving them driver's license. They're even giving them the ability to vote. So these states and cities, in my opinion, are already in clear violation of countless laws. But, the question is, does this country and does the Trump administration have the fortitude or the, political capital to go in and do what's necessary to discipline people? Because the problem is, it's not that Congress needs a law, in my opinion, Perry. It's that we have just nodded our heads and accepted that this is how this country operates, that, Democrat states and cities can operate this way. And what are you going to do about it? Well, Trump comes in and starts to make moves. And what does the left do? They do what's happening in Minneapolis, right? I mean, Obama was deporting, record numbers of people. You never saw any Democrat protester out there acting this way. But suddenly now that Trump is deporting these same people, you have unrest.
So why don't we hear more about what President Obama did? It was in the neighborhood of 3 million people he deported. Why isn't that front and center today as part of the discussion?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Well, I have seen. I mean, I guess it depends where you're looking, Perry. Mm-hmm. Obviously, CNN, MS Now, ABC, CBS, even in the hands of Barry Weiss. I mean, they're not going to talk about this, right? Their objective is to be, they're pouring gasoline on the fire every day. They're not going to speak reason to these people. And I just think that we have this polarized situation where if you're me, you're watching what you're watching, you're listening to what you're listening to, and But I mean, it's not. I can't even make the analogy anymore, Perry, because we're polarized. But my side and what I'm talking about are facts and truth. The problem is the left refuses to accept it. They refuse to acknowledge reality, and they choose to selectively just leave out of history these events like Barack Obama deporting all these people, Barack Obama's speeches, the Clinton speeches, and they sounded way more venomous towards the immigrant community than Trump ever has, to be honest, if you go back and roll the tape. But I don't know. I mean, we have to go out and make the case to these people. I guess that's what we have to do in our own communities. I mean, I try to speak to people too. But, the media is tough because no Democrat's going to go turn on Fox News, right? It's just not going to happen.
All right. In the meantime, have we lost the fear of breaking the law? And the reason I ask that question, because of all the things that have been uncovered in the last year or two or several, no major arrest of anybody of significance. Nobody. Nobody has been totally convicted and sent to jail.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. Look what happened with Don Lemonhead.
And he's out quoting Bible verses. He's out quoting Bible verses now.
Oh, of course he is. Well, he speaks of his Christianity, Perry, because apparently, there's different Bibles out there that teach different things. I didn't know that we all had our own God. I thought it was the same one. But no, this is how fake Christians speak, and Don Lemon certainly is no Christian. But look at the reaction. He violated the FACE Act. Joe Biden's auto pen administration put pro-life protesters who did nothing but stand there. He sentenced them to up to 10 years in in prison. Don Lemon, obviously, he doesn't have a case. I mean, he can make his case before court, and that's going to be great. That's his right as an American citizen. But apples to apples here, he has to be sentenced to prison for 10 years. Because the Democrats supported it in the past, but now look how they react. I mean, they're using award shows, right, to come out in defense of Don Lemon, to come out against ICE. I mean, they're just so organized, and they have so much money funding all of this. It just gives it the appearance that it's popular, and the motivation is to get people like me to just stand down, believing that I'm in the minority. And so to your point, people have to go to jail. We cannot cave in to the left's rhetoric. And the left knows that their threat of violence, which is real, we see them out in the streets with Antifa and BLM and what they're willing to do. They're basically holding the country hostage, saying, I dare you to enforce the law, because if you do, we will burn your cities to the ground. And so there's a lot of hesitation. So Trump's just got to, there will come a time under this administration, I believe, where probably the Insurrection Act will finally be invoked.
So to continue with this, and I'm not trying to provoke anything, I'm just dealing with what we're talking about, and that's the facts. No key person on the left has gone down, not one. Charlie Kirk is dead. The president's been shot at twice, and even those people who have been brought up on those charges have not been totally convicted.
Yeah, and I think that what's missing is that more Americans need to speak calmly, factually, like you just did, and say those very things. Because that's the message I've been trying to get out there is like, hey, wait a minute. Charlie Kirk was assassinated not long ago, and there was never a conversation about why it happened or how it happened. There was never conversation about the obvious link between the left's rhetoric and violence carried out by leftists. No conversation about the Trump assassination attempt. No conversation about, the Bernie Sanders supporter trying to shoot up a field of congressional Republicans practicing for the baseball game. I mean, all these examples of left-wing violence carried out by transgender individuals whose manifestos read like Barack Obama's speeches, or a CNN panel. I hate white people. Black people are cool. This is what Audrey Hale's manifesto said, for example, in the Nashville Covenant shooting. And so we need to emotionally prepare ourselves to just acknowledge reality. And that is that the left today is a domestic terrorist organization, effectively. And the Democrat Party is totally okay with violence. They're totally okay with, the murder and assassination of, conservative figures. It's obvious in their behavior. It was Democrats, people I went to high school with even, who were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. These people don't have any moral high ground to stand on, and there's no reason we should even take them seriously and listen to them.
I'm past a break, but I got to ask this question quickly. So are we afraid to convict these people?
I don't think so. I think we're going to see convictions coming. Don Lemon, no one's pulling back from that. You've got some, limits in terms of statute of limitations, I think, unfortunately, with some cases. But, I've got another book coming out in a month or two here about Trump-Russia collusion with the declassified documents. And there has to be accountability. Perry, if there is not maximum accountability carried out under this administration for as much of this stuff as is possible, we're going to be in a very, very dark place in 3 years.
All right. I have another question, but let me take a break. We'll be right back. Check out Drew's website, drewallen.substack.com, and his book, very relevant, America's Last Stand, Will You Vote to Save or Destroy America? It said 2024. You could put 26 and 28 in there. And there's the latest book, For Christ and Country, dealing with Charlie Kirk. Check that out as well. We'll be right back.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegateRV.com.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
In verse 17 we read, "Now it happened after these things that the son of the woman who owned the house became sick. And his sickness was so serious," says the scripture, "that there was no breath left in him." We are not told what was wrong with the widow's son, but the illness was so severe that the boy died. And there is nothing in my estimation that could be more tragic than her experience. As long as her son lived, she knew there was somebody she could count on to care for her. Now she looks at the only hope in her life, and he's gone. But there's good news. In spite of the pain and sorrow, in spite of the loneliness and despair, God is at work in this woman's life. And while we don't often appreciate it, we would never ask for it, we often sense that in those difficult things in our lives, in the hurts of life, something's going on in our life. We may not understand it. We may not even be able to explain it to the closest person to us. But down deep in our heart, we know that this hurts really bad, but God is up to something in my life.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Pastor Robert Jeffers of the First Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas.
Not just about Christ Jesus, but that I might know him.
Helping you learn, grow, and get on the pathway to victory. Catch it 7 times every weekend on the Dove TV.
Welcome back, and very timely to have back with us Drew Allen. He has his own podcast called The Drew Allen Show, and he has a website or a place to connect with him, drewallen.substack.com. Check out his 2 books. I think you'll find them to be fascinating. And the first one is America's Last Stand, Will You Vote to Save or Destroy America? It said 2024, but you can put 26 and 28 because the principles still stand. And Christ and Country, right there, his book on Charlie Kirk, and there's a picture of that cover as well. Drew, during the break, I was trying to figure out how to ask this question. So, kind of a 30,000-foot view. We're heading into midterm, very important. The president's already demonstrated he's going to barnstorm the country. It looks like he and Elon Musk have patched up the problem, and Elon's going to be involved in the midterm. He gave over $300 million last time to Republicans. He could be much higher going into this election cycle. If President Trump is able to hold the House midterm, then everything that we just talked about could come to pass, because there would be no reason for him but not to start convicting these people at the highest level. I say he, the DOJ. It's an idea, but it is kind of moving around out there. I've run into this in several articles. What do you think?
Yeah, the first piece there is that it's absolutely imperative that Republicans maintain control of the House and also the Senate. I'm not a doomer. I think that the odds are good. I think that we can do it. And if we do hold that, then we have to show up and do what we promised. There's no excuses, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that the Republicans would do well to run a campaign that is no different than the campaign Trump ran to win the most recent presidential election. I think that is all still on the ballot. I mean, we're talking about the economy. We're talking about law and order here. These are the issues that matter most to the American people. Donald Trump ran on these things. He ran on deportation. 66% of Americans, that includes Democrats and independents in that figure, support, deportations. And so I think that the message has to be loud and clear. Look, we're just getting started. But all of this is at risk if you don't show up and vote. Trump has to be on the ballot in these midterms. They have to make sure that's clear.
Okay, well said. All right, let me swing your attention to a couple other things. The president has announced his pick for the feds, Mr. Walsh, and in the meantime, the DOJ still has an indictment against Chairman Powell. Seems to be very political, but has to do with the remodeling of the Fed's building. Some Republicans today are saying that they want to interfere with the passing of the funding of the budget for the country. We're in shutdown right now, partial shutdown, until the president removes his charges against Powell, which obviously that have to be done through the DOJ. What do you think about that mess?
What an unbelievable situation to be in politics, right? Mm-hmm. All these different concessions that you have to consider making with your enemies. Look, I mean, I don't care much about the Powell thing. I could care less. His term's coming to an end. I talked about it on my show a little bit. Powell did seem to mislead Congress. He said there weren't going to be X, Y, and Z, included in this renovation. He seemed to downplay, the extravagance of it. And it turned out that in the plans there were all these additional fountains and so on and so forth. But in the grand scheme of the country's problems, Perry, I could care less about this guy. Obviously, the Fed's significant. I have problems with the Fed. But if you want to go down the list of issues we face and need to confront, he's not one of them. So if this is the hill Democrats or something want to die on to get something that we need in it, I mean, I would, and I haven't read all of this, but I would be willing to scratch that. There are bigger fish to fry, certainly.
Yeah.
But these we continue to be held hostage with these funding bills and mechanisms, and I'm so sick and tired of it. I mean, the big thing that Democrats have been wanting to is they want to abolish ICE and defund ICE, and part of these protests are about forcing that outcome. But the economy could really be. It is cooking in some ways. I heard you in the previous segment talking about some of the economic numbers. I mean, things are. I mean, it's not debatable that they're significantly improved under Trump than they were not long ago. Right. But we've got to get Congress to pass bills that we need and that we want, and it's not happened. I'm very disappointed in Congress.
Okay, another big picture. Senator Lindsey Graham, over the weekend, really took on the president directly and saying, "Look, you told the people in Iran you had their back. You told them help was on the way. In the meantime, tens of thousands of people have been executed, some even in their hospital bed. We do have a large military influence that's there now. What do you think is going to happen?"
I think that there will be some form of intervention in Iran. I'm actually surprised there hasn't been more already, especially given what we saw in Venezuela with sending Delta Force in to take Maduro and his wife in the middle of the night. Incredible stuff. But look, I support helping Iran in some capacity. There are a lot of ways to do that. I'm not interested in any long-term wars at all. I don't have the stomach for it. But I mean, we sent carriers, a strike force, off of the the coast that obviously is nearby to Iran. And I don't know. There's been very little conversation about it. It was in the news for a couple days, and it doesn't seem like we've heard anything since. So I'm kind of waiting with bated breath, for an update about what we're going to do there, because he did send out messages that were suggesting, basically, don't worry. The U.S. is going to help you. Mm-hmm. And it is in our strategic interest for Iran to be free of the mullahs and these theocratic, ayatollahs and everything else that are basically funding broader terrorism throughout the world against the West, including us.
Okay. Only got a couple minutes left. Let me ask you this, Drew, bringing it back to really the core of the matter. Do you think we believers nationwide understand the times? And what I mean by that, we can always say it's end times, we can say it's biblical, we can say it's prophetic. But do we understand that we are perhaps in the spiritual battle for the soul of America? Do you think we understand spiritual warfare?
I think that the challenge for every Christian in every moment in history is to acknowledge that we are always in a state of battle that is a spiritual battle for our own souls, the souls of those around us, and in this case, our country. I think more people are waking up to that. That was my realization, and that's in the book For Christ and Country, The Martyrdom of Charlie Kirk. We are. I hope that people understand, Christians out there, that we are in that situation. And the evils that we're seeing around us and globally, it's untamed at this point. And the solution is right there in front of us, and it's not in any book I've written, but it's in your Bibles.
Yeah, I just marvel at the fact that, I want to say this respectfully and with a broken heart, that a lot of people have already forgotten Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, it does seem like, I'm surprised, because I was asked on interviews shortly after his death if I thought that, his legacy would, be forgotten. And actually at the time I said, no way, it's impossible. I mean, I'm not going to forget it. I wrote this book about it. I want to keep his legacy alive. And I do think we're in a period right now where people have kind of moved on. I haven't moved on, though, Perry, and I'm not going to move on.
Mm-hmm. I haven't either. In fact, I struggle with it. I just struggle with it. I mean, I remember seeing something about that assassination I didn't want to see, and I can't get it off my mind. But it's a subtle reminder that here's a guy doing what God called him to do, and he got killed for it.
Yeah. I think that we have a responsibility as Christians to recognize that for what it was, a martyrdom. Mm-hmm. And look, it did change my life, Perry. I mean, his death transformed me. I'm a different person than I was before he died, a better person, a better Christian, frankly. And that's my testimony. Yeah. And as I watch him go around in video in the past and go on these campuses and debate, I mean, he was just such a special person, such a great advocate for Christ.
All right. Thank you, Drew, for your time. We value it greatly. Good to see you, buddy. We need you to stay in there. Keep writing. Keep speaking. Check out his podcast, the Drew Allen Show podcast. Check out where you can connect with him, drewallen.substack.com. Christ and Country. Check out that book and, of course, his other book as well. Thank you, brother. Hang in there, pal.
Hey, same. Will do.
God bless.
God bless.
you feel most alive, where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
In doing 21,000 interviews, you cover multiple topics. Alan Dershowitz, George W. Bush, Rush Limbaugh, David Limbaugh, Franklin Graham, Dr. David Jeremiah, Dr. Dobson, Dr. Alveda King, Sean Hannity, Ronald Reagan. Been quite a ride over these 42 plus years. 21,000 interviews, that's a big milestone. It's huge. Welcome back. Well, a topic that pops up quite often here, whether it's in our morning news or Focus Today, is this thing called property rights. And if you own property, then you know that you're always trying to figure out just what you can and can't do with your property. I'm really honored to have back with us today Mark Miller. He's the Director of Environment and Natural Resources Litigation at the Pacific Legal Foundation. Can't say enough about Pacific Legal and what they do, where he leads efforts to defend property rights and limit government outreach and overreach, and has helped really to secure multiple unanimous victories for landowners, even at the Supreme Court. In fact, he's got one heading there now. Pacific Legal Foundation is really a wonderful organization, and they're there for you. They're frontline warriors for you. Check them out and support them. pacificlegal.org is the website. And there's a picture of the landing page. I like their little sign there, suing the government since 1973. Mark, good to see you, friend. How are you?
Great to be with you, Perry, as always. It's an honor to be with you.
Thank you. Honor to have you. Wow, a lot going on here. You know, I have to tell you just on the outset, my oldest son has served in the Oregon legislature for 14 years. I was chairman of the state, and so we've been involved politically for a long time. Here's the deal. One of the things that I constantly bring up, and I can't get anybody to carry it, that our property taxes should be frozen at the age of 65. You know, I just think that's something that should be automatic. You work all your life to live in your house, and then you're taxed out of it. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm still working for that one.
Yeah, well, Perry, you know, I think that's an incredibly timely topic. You know, state legislatures across the country are wrestling with what we do with our property taxes. I'm down here in Florida on the other side of the country, and Governor Ron DeSantis is trying to do things to improve the fact that property taxes do land heavily on the elderly and seniors, but also that they just go up, up, and up. The trade-off, though, as you know, Perry, is somebody has to pay. As long as we're going to fund our government at the levels that we fund it, if we don't collect property taxes from Peter, then we have to collect from Paul. And so on the one hand, and I'm not taking a position on it, Perry, but as you know, I worked for Kristi Noem when she was governor of South Dakota, and we wrestled with property taxes. And so if you say we're going to freeze taxes on seniors, then the property taxes are going to be higher on our children or our grandchildren who are trying to buy their first house. And so even though I agree with you that protecting seniors from property taxes going up, up, and up is a good thing, on the other hand, if it discourages those who are trying to be first-time homeowners from getting into the housing market, that's not a good thing either. And so these are not easy trade-offs for our policymakers in the state capitals.
No, I understand that. I guess my premise of that argument is the all-American dream is you own your own home, and yes, you work all your life to get it, and then you're on a fixed income and you lose it, and then therefore your estate is nothing to hand off to your children. If you had your home, at least you could sell it, and that could be the beginning of them buying their new home. But anyway, that's my argument.
Yeah, no, and I think it's an excellent argument. And Perry, we were wrestling with this in South Dakota. I know here in Florida, where we, of course, have a lot of snowbirds who end up retiring after being snowbirds. They end up living here, moving from the Northeast and Midwest. And they are saying, look, we're getting priced out of the homes that we bought just 10 or 15 years ago. It is not an easy question. at all, and I don't envy the state legislators who have to solve it.
Yeah. That kind of is a bridge to the case you have before the court about a family that basically losing their home over a tax they didn't even owe. What is that case, Mark?
Yes, thank you for asking, Perry. At Pacific Legal, we're 18-2 at the United States Supreme Court. So when we get cases in front of the Supreme Court, usually on property rights, we tend to win. And our wins, as you said, are for all property owners because we're a nonprofit. So we win for our clients, but we're also setting precedents that apply to everyone. In this case, we have coming up, which will hopefully be our 19th win, we shall see. It's called Pung versus Isabella County. And the Pung family lost their home over $2,000 in change that they owed in back taxes that they had not paid for whatever reason. We don't really need to argue about whether they were properly given notice. The bottom line is they lost the property over $2,000. And the issue in the case is this: when the local government took the house to sell to make up for that $2,000 that they owed, the local government sold at a fire sale price of $76,000. Now, in an earlier Supreme Court win, the state government, or local government in this case, was required to give back the equity. So if we owe $2,000 and the government sells the property for $76,000, then we should get $74,000 back. That's the equity. That's our property. But what's interesting in this case is Isabella County, Michigan, may not have really done this sale fairly, and they undersold the house. And the reason we know that to be true is a week later, the private purchaser who bought it for $76,000 turned around and sold it for $195,000. They sold it for $195,000. And so, as you can see by math, that's about $120,000, I would argue, is an equity that the Isabella County government prevented our clients from receiving. And so the Supreme Court's going to decide, was that fair? And is that a taking of our private property that we're owed the difference, that $120,000? Or how do we solve this problem? If the local government sells the property at an unfair price, who has to pay? The local government, the private purchaser, or the family property owner?
Was that sale below the appraised value that they were taxed for?
Yeah, you're nailing the issue, Perry. Not surprisingly, you're nailing the issue. We are arguing at the Supreme Court that it's below what the fair price was on the market. Interestingly, President Trump's lawyers in the Solicitor General's office, they're arguing that it really shouldn't matter what they were being taxed at or what the fair market value was. They're arguing that as long as the sale was fair, as long as that $76,000 was fair, then this is not an improper taking of the equity. The fact that the local government then sold it at that higher price isn't necessarily wrong unless they knew what they were doing was nefarious. And that's a pretty reasonable argument that the federal government is taking. We obviously would want a better result, but we would take that win as well, I think it's fair to say, because regardless, we think if you look into the sale, we think that local government was treating the sale unfairly, trying to basically undercut the Pungs. They were not happy that the Pungs stood up, our clients, the Pungs, stood up to the local government. And as you said at the beginning, Perry, when you introduced me, all we do at Pacific Legal is sue the government. We sue local, state, and federal government. If we have another government, we'll sue them too. And the government's never happy when you sue them. And so we're not surprised that the Pungs may have been mistreated here.
So is the core question fair value? Is that the core question?
Well, it's going to be interesting. The way the court frames the question often tells us the answer. We are hoping that the Supreme Court will frame it as the local government has to capture fair market value for the property. The federal government takes the position that no, as long as the sale is fair, it doesn't matter what the price is. As long as it's on the open market and it was properly noticed, etc., then whatever you get, you get. Whatever that sale returns is the reasonable rate of return. Now, the government itself says, no, we can just sell it however we want to sell it. You can't question us, and you just should take what you get and be happy with it. We think that's wrong, but that's what's before the court. And so often, the way the Supreme Court resolves these questions is how does it define the question in the case? And here they may say fair market value isn't really within the question of the case. It's just what is a fair sale price? And whether it is, as you said, Perry, what they were being taxed at, which often is lower than fair market value, or just a fair sale, that's what's up for grabs in the oral argument later this month.
Wow. So had the person who bought it on the fire sale from the county not turned around and sold it so quickly, that's where the case got weakened, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Perry. The facts of this case are not good for the local government. It puts the local government in a bad light. If the local government wants to take the position of, oh, we thought we were selling at a fair price, certainly the facts that then follow just 1 week later undercut the local government's position. And that's why I think the Supreme Court took the case, because this issue of what is the proper sale price when the local government takes your property to satisfy back taxes is a hot one. The courts are all over the map on the issue. Here, the local government, the facts that arose in the case are so egregious that it gave the Supreme Court the opportunity to resolve what is a hot issue after our win in Tyler that you mentioned a few years ago on home equity theft, and to start answering the follow-up questions. Number one, you can't take the equity. Number two, what does it mean to say you can't take the equity, that you have to give the equity back? Does it have to be full market value, fair market value? Does it have to be the tax value or something else?
When you win this case, will there be punitive damages included?
There won't be punitive damages. This is not the kind of case that lends itself to punitive damages. At least I don't think we would get punitive damages in this case. I do think, though, you could see an award of attorney's fees. Oftentimes in our case, what we like to say at Pacific Legal Foundation is we do not take government handouts. We don't take government donations, government grants, if you will, unless the court orders the government to pay our attorney's fees because the government lost the case. When the court orders the government to give us money, we're happy to take it.
Sure you are. Let me take a quick break. I got more questions on this. Check out pacificlegal.org. That's Mark's website where he and his organization, it's an amazing organization. They've been there for a long time, and they're on your side when it comes to this stuff. Check it out, pacificlegal.org, and support them. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ryan Robertson, host of a brand new program on the Dove, Ministries on the Move. Ministries on the Move spotlights the incredible work of how God is using everyday people and organizations, putting their faith into action, serving the hurting, strengthening families, and sharing the hope of the gospel in practical ways. Be inspired and discover these Ministries on the Move. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m., right here on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Because Christ is in our relationships at home, there should be a new quality to that relationship. It doesn't always happen all at once, but it happens along the way. As we submit ourselves to the Lord, as we should become better husbands and better wives and better parents and more obedient children and better workers and better bosses. Why? Because Christ is in the equation. Christ is everything. The title of this series is Christ Above All. He's more important than anything we've talked about today, to understand that it's all about our relationship with Christ. And here's Paul telling us, you want to honor the Christ that is the center of your life. It's going to affect how you live, how you relate at home, how you relate at work, how you function as parents. Christ is a difference maker.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Welcome back, and honored to have back with us Mark Miller. He's the Director of the Environment and Natural Resource Litigation there at Pacific Legal Foundation. Can't say enough about Mark and his organization. They're there for you, pacificlegal.org. And if you look at their website, that says it all, suing the government since 1973, and always on your behalf. Again, thank you for your time, Mark. One more thing on this before I leave this case. When you win this, Will that set a precedence for all states when it comes to fair equity values?
Yes, that is exactly the aim, that when we win, all the states across the country and the local governments across the country will have to abide by the Supreme Court's ruling. Now, the Supreme Court always goes out of its way to try to limit its holdings, or not, I shouldn't say always, but often to limit its holdings to the facts before the court. But I think here the Supreme Court is taking the case to set a precedent that will apply more widely, that this is the kind of case where you don't take a follow-up case to our Tyler win, and this is ultimately a follow-up to our Tyler win from 2 terms ago, to clarify what you said 2 years ago, unless you want to make sure that local governments are getting the message. So I think that's what will happen. It will be a message to all local and state governments to get your act together and treat property owners fairly.
If a property owner in the future is going to have their property repossessed for back taxes, whatever that amount is, and you win this case, would it be wise for them immediately to seek counsel to make sure that that fair equity value is set?
100%. And attorneys will be more than willing to take those cases. There are a number of lawyers across the country who have represented property owners in this very position where they owe their back taxes. They maybe missed certain deadlines to redeem the property, and now it's just going to be sold. And the attorneys take the cases oftentimes on contingency because they know they are going to recoup that equity. And so absolutely, you shouldn't be scared that, the attorney will be expensive. Attorneys are willing to take these cases, and I'm not a plaintiff's lawyer here advertising for lawyers, but you shouldn't be scared off that, attorneys will charge me too much and I already lost the property. Why would I want to spend more money on an attorney? An attorney here, I think, would very much defend your rights and make sure you get what you have that you're entitled to under the Constitution.
All right. Very interesting. So we'll see how this goes. Let me switch your attention to some bigger cases that's before the court. To scratch your brain a little bit on them. The court recently heard arguments in from Idaho, West Virginia, about biological men and competing in girls' sports. What is the court looking at here?
Well, Perry, just like you said earlier, how the court frames the question is often what tells us what the result will be. And so in the West Virginia and Idaho cases that the court heard argument on earlier this winter in January, the question is, can Idaho and West Virginia say that boys who are now transitioning to be girls can't play in girls' sports? That those states can, under Title IX, which is designed to make sure that women have the right to education and educational opportunities that men do, or under the Equal Protection Clause that says that women have to be given the same opportunities as men and treated the same way, that those states can say that, I think the phrases, I'm not an expert on these phrases, but I think it's trans girls, so people who are born boys but believe their gender is women, that they cannot compete in high school girls' sports or college girls' sports or the like. And by framing of the question, what I mean, Perry, is this is not the court saying that you can prohibit, that the states have to prohibit the trans girls from participating against girls, so the boys participating against girls. It's just saying that states can do it. So in other words, blue states that are saying girls' sports do have to include trans boys, trans girls, the Supreme Court is not getting into that issue yet, even though the Trump administration wants it to. Right now, they're just saying, can states do it? South Dakota is a state that has a law like this. Governor Noem, when I was her chief of staff, we passed a law like this, like West Virginia's law and Idaho's law. So up in South Dakota, they're watching it closely. Florida, in Florida now where I live, Governor DeSantis' administration is watching it closely. The question is, may a state prohibit boys who think they are girls from participating in girls' sports?
Is this a Title X issue?
So it's two things. Number one, it's Title IX.
Excuse me, Title IX. I'm sorry, Title IX, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the law that was passed a little over 50 years ago to protect women's opportunities in sports and education opportunities more generally. And then it's also an Equal Protection Clause issue. The Supreme Court often, though, wants to frame it as a statutory issue, not as a constitutional issue, because Congress could come back and amend the law if they don't like the Supreme Court outcome. They can amend the Constitution, but it's a lot harder. So I think what the Supreme Court will do if I had to predict, is that they will say under Title IX, states can block trans girls, in other words, boys at birth who believe they were now girls. The state can block them under the law, under Title IX, that it's not illegal or unconstitutional.
Mark, do you ever think the court, whether it's state or federal or Supreme Court, will ever deal with the issue of biology versus sociology?
Well, I think that that's an interesting sort of natural law question that this Supreme Court, when we talk about natural law, Perry, and not to get too deep in the weeds of philosophy, but the Dobbs case is a perfect example.
Yeah.
There were those who were in favor of a strong natural law perspective on the Constitution, who would say that the 14th Amendment protects the unborn, that the right to life includes unborn life. There are others who say that those who drafted the 14th Amendment did not intend that outcome. So from a matter of true interpretation of the text of the law, you can't say that the unborn are protected under the 14th Amendment. But there's many natural law theorists who I think, Perry, you probably like and your viewers would like, who say no, that certainly is just sort of a higher principle that the unborn should be protected. Similarly here, if we're going to take the Equal Protection Clause and say women have to be treated the same as men, would the Supreme Court go so far as to say under the Equal Protection Clause, girls have to be treated as girls, boys have to be treated as boys, meaning when they were born? And to be sure, as we saw on Oprah Winfrey and all those, Dr. Phil shows, there may be exceptions. There are those who are born at birth who perhaps have both genitalia, but 99% of people are either born a boy and born a girl, and perhaps the Supreme Court could resolve that. This court, though, bottom line, doesn't seem willing to go that far, at least not yet.
One other question, I want to check my time here. One other question. Why, from your opinion, Mark, just an opinion, I'm not going to hold you to it, I'm not going to take it to court. Why hasn't the Supreme Court ruled on tariffs yet?
Yeah, I mean, Pacific Legal filed a brief in the tariffs case, and I am surprised. I don't remember if I was on with you in the fall when the case was argued, but if I was, I would have predicted we'd get a quick ruling. If I had to guess at what's happening behind the scenes, I think it's a fractured court, that the justices do not agree on the right outcome, and whether it's 5-4 or 6-3. Not only is it fractured, but maybe their rationales are different, and so they're having to try and maybe cut a deal, to be honest and very practical, a legal realist, if you will, as opposed to natural law theorist. Chief Justice Roberts wants to bring in a unanimous decision as often as he can. So he may be working very hard to get as many justices as he can to agree on one outcome or another and just say, let's put aside the reasoning and let's just focus on the outcome. I think the longer it goes on, the better a sign that is for President Trump, that if the court were going to say this was improper, what the president did under IEEPA in terms of these tariffs and the way they can change so quickly, they probably would have said it more, much more quickly, as you're alluding to. I think right now it looks good for Trump.
So you're kind of answering one of the questions I have, just how much power, if I can use the word, or management skills does the Chief Justice has to behind the scenes before a decision is released?
Well, I don't think he has as much as he wishes he has. I think he very much is an institutionalist, meaning he wants to protect the credibility of the court, as opposed to, say, a Justice Alito or a Justice Thomas who just want to get the right outcome. Chief Justice Roberts is more willing to make compromises, and I'm not taking a position on whether that's right or wrong, but he thinks that if you can get 8 or 9 justices to agree to an outcome, that builds up people's faith that this is about law and not about political party, not about justices who are appointed by a Republican versus justices who are appointed by a Democrat, but rather this is about the law. And to his credit, 9 out of 10 cases at the Supreme Court get decided regardless of the justices who appointed them. The problem is it's the cases we talk about that are always political, and those are the ones that look red versus blue.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible in this particular case, Mark, that the court could say, all right, Mr. President, what you've done is done, but from here on out, you got to get congressional approval on these tariffs? I mean, could it be something like that?
Yeah, I'm a legal realist myself, Perry, on things like this, and I think you're right. I think you may have some intellectuals, some law professors who would say that's the wrong way to handle the law. That may or may not be true, but I think Chief Justice Roberts is a practical man, and he may want to say, President Trump, you didn't do this right, but the horse is out of the barn, so we're just going to say going forward, use the other laws, the other tools you have to adjust tariffs. In fact, Secretary Scott Bessent said that as much. He said that if the Supreme Court rules against them, they have other laws they can rely upon to get the same tariff collections. So I could see the Supreme Court splitting the baby, if you will, in the way that you're suggesting.
Wow, very interesting. All right, back to your key case, Hung versus Isabella. Where are you in this? When do you argue?
Yeah, the case will be argued late in February, and then we will get a decision no later than generally July 1, hopefully by the end of June. When we argued our Tyler case 2 terms ago, we argued it very late. It was, I think, if I remember right, it was argued in April, and we got an outcome by late May. And so the Supreme Court is very much aligned with Pacific Legal. There's a reason we're 18-2. This current Supreme Court is aligned with the way PLF sees property rights. And so I'm optimistic, as you said earlier, Perry, that when we win, not if we win, but not just when we win, but that we will get a good win for the Pung family and for all Americans who own private property.
Just quickly, how many members of your team go before the Supreme Court on a case like this?
The Supreme Court allows 4 attorneys to sit before them. Going back to the beginning of the foundation of the country, Chief Justice John Marshall started a tradition that the 4 lawyers who represent a side each get a quill pen to represent how they used to write in pen and ink. And so I'm proud to say I have one of those quill pens, and many of my colleagues do at Pacific Legal as well. We are very proud that the lawyers who bring the cases get to argue the cases.
Congratulations, friend, and thoughts with you as you head there. And let's stay connected. You're fascinating. Thank you for your work. Thank you for all of you there at Pacific Justice. And let me say to our viewers and listeners, go to Pacific Legal Foundation, not Pacific Legal Foundation. There's the landing page right there. Pacific Legal, suing the government since 1973. God bless you, Mark. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. God bless you, Perry.
Hi, I'm Sherry Breslin with Rogue Valley Security. Whether it's alarms, cameras, keyless entry, or even Starlink, we tailor solutions for your home or business. We believe in professionalism, excellence, and integrity. Every job, every time. Visit RogueValleySecurity.com.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style